Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show or to the channel or just hanging out with me. This is episode 14 of the Daily Nugget, so we're almost finished with 3 weeks. Um, and I got to tell you, uh, the the members, my channel members, are the ones that come up with the content. They did a real good job on the one we're going to talk about today. Because I got to tell you, I was actually shocked at some of the stuff that I found. Um, I was saving channel pages and graphs and all this stuff that I was going to show you guys. But honestly, it got so confusing and there was so much contradictory information that it would have just probably you guys off trying to understand all these graphs and things that I found and these different articles. But here's the thing, there's, we know we've got a lot of volcanic activity, the most in a long time, at the same time. And then, we've been talking about, the grand solar minimum and the effects of that on crops and all this good stuff. And it's been a hot topic in the community for a while, especially if you follow Ice Age Farmer. But before I go any deeper, let me go ahead and acknowledge everybody that's here today. Give me 1 second. Let's back this chat up. Backwoods, what's going on? Georgia Peach, Ghetto, what's up? Sherry Leach, Flintstone Girl, Bug Dude, Nikki, what's going on, Nikki? SKM Keith, hello. Ronnie Braun, what's happening? Tiger, hello. Rosanna Jones, Avalanche. Susanna, hope you're feeling better, sweetheart. Tammy C, hello. Stars Pepper, what's going on? Who? Bella Vista. Yeah, so the topic of the grand solar minimum and crazy volcano activity and crop failures. For the last several months or even years, people look at them as three completely separate, non-connected topics. But if you go a little bit deeper, they're connected. Like they legit work with each other. Angie, what's going on? And I did spend quite a few hours, surfing the net, looking at different articles. And I'm talking peer-reviewed articles from Harvard, Yale, places like that. And it's so weird. And this just may be attributed to my search habits on the articles that I was pulling up. Take this with a grain of salt. But from decades ago, like in the early 2000s, late 80s, mid 90s, there were articles on the connection between elevated volcanic activity and solar minimums, and it's documented on the charts through the ice core drillings and stuff like that that elevated volcanic activity coincides with grand solar minimums, and throughout history. They can't really give a definitive which one starts the other one. The Earth does the volcanic activity, signal becoming solar minimums? Does this? Obviously, you would think that it's something to do with the radiation from the sun and all this good stuff. How it changes affects the internal workings of the Earth, which kicks off the volcanoes. Which that makes more sense than anything to me. Hello, G2. But here's the thing. And this is what really shocked me. It wasn't until recently, in the last handful of years, say maybe 10 years, that I started finding articles and to debunk that solar cycles and the 11-year cycle of the sun, the grand solar minimums, coincide with elevated volcanic activity. So even though it's documented fact throughout history, through ice core drillings and everything else, that during the grand solar minimums, it's a lot of volcanic activity. In the dark ages throughout history, there was a lot of volcanic activity in the grand solar minimum and crop failures. It's the reason they're called the dark ages. But now you've got people coming out saying, oh, that's just a coincidence. One thing has nothing to do with the other, yah. But it's recent. Like they're just now putting these articles out, in the last few years. versus having decades worth of information saying that, yeah, they happen at the same time. One causes the other, and it leads to, devastating, crop failures. But all of a sudden, mainstream media, or not so mainstream media, is saying, no, it doesn't exist. It's just coincidence. That right there is a red flag that it's got a lot of truth to it. And it's the media outlets trying to make sure that the public doesn't panic or, dig a little bit deeper into it than they should, or put more merit on that than, how much LeBron James is making in his contract for the next 10 years, or, what Donald Trump's doing, or, all this other kind of stuff. Honestly, I think that if it's something that the media can't control, then they just pretend it either doesn't exist or they try to debunk it. They can't control volcanoes blowing up. They can't control the sun cycle. They can't control crop failures if this all happens at the same time. But what they can control is what you watch, and they can dictate, these different things. They can't control these other things, so they just pretend that they don't exist, and we don't get the truth. And I fully thought that yesterday when I was researching it, that I would find like some really cool stuff showing, when they happen, how they happen, why they happen. But what blew my mind was I found literally for every article I found that was backing it up, there was at least one article saying, no, it's not true. And I'm like, these are scientists and professors who have been doing this for 40, 50, 60 years. I mean, you're basing all of your science off of the data that they get from these ice core drillings and everything else. The ironic part is they just had a global warming summit. Pretty sure Biden slept through it, but they just had a global warming summit, and the data that they were using to predict global temperature rise and the change in temperature and what's going on, with the planet comes directly from these same ice core drillings that verified the fact that volcanic activity coincides with solar minimums. So they're cherry picking what information you get. It's from the same book, basically. They're saying pages 1 through 7 are not true, but pages 8, 9, and 10 are true. They're literally using the same data after they just said that it was all bullshit and none of it was real. And then they're using that data to say, yes, the climate summit, this is our data. It's backed up by these world famous scientists and they know what they're talking about. So you tell me who's lying. One thing, I believe the Ice Age farmer more than I believe mainstream media. I mean, he puts the facts out there. He gets them early. I don't know where he gets this stuff from, but he gets it. And he predicts this stuff 3, 6, 9, 12 months ahead of time. And it plops right into our laps. And it's beyond me that people aren't freaking out about this. I mean, literally, if you want a reason to store food and to figure a way to grow inside and a way to figure out how to extend your growing season, whether that be, starting your plants, in a hoop house, in a greenhouse ahead of time, in your house ahead of time, to where you don't have to plant naked seed in the dirt. You can plant something that's, been growing for, 3 weeks, a month, maybe 6 weeks. So it's getting a head start, or, constructing a greenhouse or figuring a way to grow inside, probably hydroponics. Because it would be devastating. I mean, just think about the effects on the breadbasket of America. If and you've seen what happened in the last 2 years with the massive snowstorms and the rains and the flooding and people not being able to get their product to market. Imagine that same stuff still happening, but in a worse way, like more snow, more bad weather. Pile that on with reducing the growing season. Say the growing season starts March 1st. Let's say this year, next year, you can't really plant until March 15th. So you lost 2 weeks on the front end. So you lose 2 weeks on the back end too. So now what are you going to do? I mean, some of your plants, some of your crops that you can get 2 harvests out of, now you can only get 1. Some of your crops that are long-term crops that need the entire growing season, that have to have that heat and that sunlight, maybe you just don't get enough, So that's the part that scares me. Not that you just can't plant anything and it won't grow, because that would suck. But the fact of the matter that we can plant it, we just don't know if it's going to do anything. I mean, you're sitting here waiting, wondering, if you're going to get anything coming in. And if you own a multi, thousands of acres, massive farm where you're producing things for the world, you're exporting stuff and you're selling, to companies all around the world and in the U.S., and you get hit with a devastating derecho or whatever they called it, um, or like Texas got hit with that freak cold front. I mean, say you get those right in the middle of your growing season. Now you can't produce anything because it killed everything that you planted, and you don't have time to plant another crop and get it in before the snows come. So all the things are there. They just, I tell you, I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I pray that I'm wrong. But I think this winter and next winter are going to be bad. I think this winter is going to be full of a lot of weird stuff going on, like things that we can't explain. But I think maybe the spring and the summer aren't going to be what they should be. And we're going to have a really early winter next year. I think whatever happens this winter, I think you'll be able to multiply it by 5 or 10 and looking into the following winter. I think this winter is going to be rough, but I don't think it's going to be terrible from a nature standpoint. I think from a man-made standpoint, and I don't know, pipelines not being able to pump fuel, uh, you know, supply chain issues. I think those are going to be our biggest issue this winter. Mother Nature works a little bit slower than man. I mean, man's arrogant; they want to change everything. So yeah, I think this winter is going to be bad. But I think most of the hurt this winter is going to be from man-made influences and man-made mistakes. Um, so I mean, it is what it is. And honestly, I don't even understand why you have to have a climate summit. They're wanting to do a global tax, having a climate summit about climate change, like trying to convince people that it exists or that it doesn't exist. Everybody knows it exists. An 8-year-old kid in school knows that the climate changes. It goes in cycles. The sun's on an 11-year cycle. There's been ice ages. I mean, it's history. So to say that it doesn't happen or it doesn't exist is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. It's like going out and trying to prove water ain't wet. I mean, where do these guys get this stuff from? It's hilarious. And this argument's been going on for decades. Look at all the money Al Gore made from that movie that he did. Inconvenient Truth. I think he won like an Oscar or something for that. And every single thing that he said in that movie didn't happen yet. It was propaganda. It was to fuel the machine and divide people and start a fight. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so I mean, I wanted to have all these facts to put out here for you guys, but the problem is they've they've flooded the internet and they've flooded the media with all this misinformation or disinformation. You can't really get any facts anymore because they're literally putting millions and millions of dollars into documents that really don't mean anything. So I mean, I'd love to present some stuff and show you guys, boom, 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 it's this, and this. But for every document I show that says yes, there's 2 more that say no. So it's basically it's just going to come down to what do you believe? What are your thoughts on it? What are your feelings on it? And with that, I'm going to go ahead and post the link in the chat. And if anybody wants to come up and give your honest sense of opinion on what you think about the situation, whether you believe it is happening or not, it's completely up to you. Okay, I dropped it in the YouTube. So yeah, if anybody wants to come up here and we can bounce it back and forth, or you can just state your feelings on it, and it's completely up to you. While we're people to come in here, let me go ahead and say hello to everybody I missed. Dan McClendon, hello. Shirley Leach, Farmer's Son, Independent Mini, what's going on? Oh, we got Negan in the house. What's going on, my brother?
Yeah, I missed. I had to catch the replay of your daily nugget yesterday. I spent some time with the old lady. You know what I'm saying, and everything. But hey, dude, I'll tell you. I like to night fish a lot, and I mean, especially during the summertime. And I'm gonna tell you, when there's a full moon, like when it's a hard full moon, you can actually the water is hardly ever calm. Like it's usually just a little bit of a like just wakes across the water, and it's like, you know, it's like you can feel a difference in that night or when you go and it's just the quarter moon or half moon or whatever. You can actually tell a difference in when that full moon is out. And it affects all kinds of things, with the moon and the sun and all this stuff. Is I mean, if you're out in nature a lot, you can really see the different effects on it. And man, Hutch had mentioned in the chat, they say trust the science until the science is wrong and stuff, and I agree. It's just it's a bunch of horsehead what they do, because they'll say one thing, and then the next time you turn around, they're like,
Yeah. Well, plus they change the numbers, they
mm-hmm.
change the statistics, they change the number that shows whether it's a significant, because they don't experiment, or you're testing a theory or something saying that the volcanoes are affecting this and this and this. There's a threshold that they assign a number, a specific percentage that says yes, it is a significant difference, or no, it is not. And if it is not, if it doesn't cross that threshold to be a significant difference, then by definition, according to science, then it's not true. So
Right.
the simple fact that they can keep raising the bar is horseshit. You know what I mean? And I mean, most of us in this chat are old enough to remember how the weather was when you were younger. And I'm gonna give you a perfect example. When I first moved to Florida the first time it was in the mid to late '90s. And I remember I got there on New Year's Day, and I was at the beach. I got sunburned on New Year's Day, which to me was just the craziest thing ever. But and I lived there for a few years, and it was the craziest thing I had to get used to. Every day, especially in the spring and summer and fall, every day it rained for about 5 to 10 minutes every single day, somewhere between like 1, maybe 2 o'clock and 3:30 in the afternoon. Every single day it rained. And then I moved back and I lived there for a decade. All that stopped. It doesn't do that anymore.
Mm.
I mean, you could set your clock by the afternoon shower, but now it just doesn't do it anymore. It's completely changed. And even here in North Carolina, I'm back now, and you notice a difference in the weather. I mean, there used to be a gradual change between summer, fall, and into winter. Now it's like it's not gradual. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're in November right now, and 3 days ago it was almost 80 degrees outside. It's like in the 30s right now. It's not gradual. It goes from summer one day, boom, you're getting snow the next, and it's the weirdest, most unpredictable thing I've ever encountered.
Right.
What's going
Hello,
on?
Gemma.
Hey, Ghost. Hey, Backwards. Hey,
Hey,
Susanna.
how's
Hey,
everybody doing?
Ghost. Hey, Backwoods. Sorry, Ghost. I keep
Yeah,
interrupting you.
that's all right. With a voice
Hello.
like that, you get to interrupt people when you get a voice like that.
But
I
I fully agree with what you're saying, and we see it. I mean, I see it. I talk about it all the time, even with my son, my daughter, and we're like, yeah, it even looks different outside. It doesn't look the same. It's totally it changed.
Yeah.
And you're right. The seasons used to gradually go from one to the next, and now it's just like boom, you're right into something else. You
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, we're literally down to 2 seasons now. We have winter and we have summer. There's no gradual between. It's like somebody flips a switch.
Mhm.
You know,
And some of the things, like, I see people complaining now about bugs and things like that, and I'm thinking, well, your climate is changing. Those things are going to change as well because it's moving with the climate.
yeah, and it's happening so gradual. You can attribute it to the frog in the pot on the stove. Like the water's just getting warmer and warmer. and that people really aren't paying attention to this change. Is climate change real? Yeah, it's a fact of nature. That there is no debate. Does it exist or does it not exist? Right? The only way climate change would not exist is if we were in a manufactured environment that was controlled by someone else, right? But we're not. There's documented facts that go back hundreds of thousands of years of dozens and dozens of grand solar minimums. The Maunder minimum, I mean, there's a reason they call it the Dark Ages. All that stuff in history that we look at with the plagues and the famine, the whole 9 yards, that's directly attributed to the grand solar minimum. And there was an insane increase in volcanic activity at that same time. Now you're looking
Right.
at
And
this volcanic activity spewing this ash. Now, we haven't had a major eruption that really threw the ash way up into the atmosphere, but we've got a shitload of small ones. And as of right now, the USGS is monitoring 4 volcanoes in the continental United States, not counting Hawaii. I'm talking about the continental United States. They're monitoring 4 volcanoes right now because they're showing activities of coming back to life. And that's
right.
the new ones, plus the ones that we've got going off now. It's crazy.
And I think one thing to take into account as well is manufacturing and the source of raw materials, because that will change as well. And I think that's something that they're not talking about. Nobody's really talking about that. And that's why some of those things are changing, and they will change.
You don't have to have a complete, a win, a sun. You don't have to kill the entire growing season. All you have to do, if you take 2 weeks off the front and 2 weeks off the back, that's bad. That's like between 15 and 20% of the entire growing season. I mean, you're talking,
Hmm.
that's devastating, especially to long life crops. Because there are some crops that you plant early in the spring, you harvest in the middle of the summer, you plant again, and you harvest again in the fall. You get 2 harvests out of it. If you shorten the
Right.
growing season, you're only getting one. You know, it's
Yep.
mm,
Well,
bad.
I know that we had a lot of really crazy bright moons, this year, and we've talked about it before, and I really believe, that had an effect on the growing
Oh
season
yeah,
this year.
oh yeah. Yeah, the growing season is just freaky weird. That's why I'm just like I'm all about figuring a way to do it inside, or I think I'm gonna uh, do a greenhouse. And I was worried that I couldn't do a greenhouse because my yard is, pretty much sun. Or pretty much, all trees. Here's the cool part, or the weird part that I noticed the other day. Now that we're in winter, and the angle of the sun has changed a little bit. Like now, there's probably three times in my house that I could legit put up a 25 by 10 greenhouse, and it actually gets that space actually gets more sun now in winter than it did in the summer because of the angle of the sun.
Right.
So that's something I'm going to look into about doing something like that, because it doesn't have to be massive. If it's just for your family, you don't need a massive greenhouse. You just need to plant the right plants, the ones that harvest quick, full of nutrients. That you can do. Lettuces. I mean, lettuce is going to be a mainstay because I mean, some of the lettuce, like your bib lettuces, like your butter crunch lettuces and things like that, those things are ready to eat in less than a month. I'm talking about from sprouting seed to eating in less than a month. So it's those things produce really, really quick. It's not like a 3 or 4 month time frame you've got to wait to get some nutrition. You can do those. I mean, you can plant a new head of lettuce every single day, for 30 days and just keep that cycle going and never run out of lettuce if it's just you. You know what I mean? Mm.
Yeah, I was considering going, well, I mean, I'm gonna redo my. I've got a little outbuilding out here. It's a pretty good size little outbuilding, and it's just been out there for years and years and years, and I was gonna redo it, and I'm thinking about turning it into a greenhouse.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to start experimenting. Well, this winter, obviously, I'm experimenting with hydroponics inside, um, and then probably, it just depends on how things go. If I get a bird in my saddle, I might just run out there one day, this winter and just build me a damn greenhouse. I mean, they're not that hard to build if you use PVCs and you know how to bend it, the whole 9 yards, and how to wrap the greenhouse. But I mean, it's that you can do them really, really cheap, um, just to see if they work before you put hundreds or even thousands of dollars into the concept of putting a greenhouse in your yard. Because number one, you have to make sure you got sunlight, you know, and number two, you've got to make sure that it's not in a direct, you know, if you're on the plains and you just throw up a PVC greenhouse, it's going to blow away. I mean, when the winds and the straight line winds and the tornadoes come through, that thing's gone. So you've got to be really particular on how you do it and where you do it. I mean, I've even seen people put them underground, like literally have a sunken greenhouse where everything is underground except the very tip top roof. And it was the coolest thing ever. And this was way up north. And when you get down deep enough inside the earth, you've got ambient temperature, which stays pretty warm in the winter and cool in the summer. So it really worked well for a greenhouse. So that's an option too. But yeah, the whole concept of it was crazy. Oh, by the way, you guys, I didn't turn on subscriber only for this chat just because I wanted to, make sure anybody that wanted to comment on this topic, because I think it's a really important topic. There's no need to make it, subscribers only. But if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. And something else I learned yesterday from one of the subs, I was doing my comments, and I was answering the comments, because I try to reply to most, if not all, but I definitely try to read all my comments. I noticed somebody made a comment, and I won't drop the person's name, but somebody made a comment on my videos, and it had a little red heart and a dollar amount beside it. And I'm like, what in the world is this? So I messaged back, why is there like a dollar sign and money by your name? I mean, what's going on here? And that person actually emailed me today and explained it to me. It's called a super like, And I did not know this. I remember when YouTube sent me an email or a little message on here when I logged in, and it's like, hey, do you want to turn on super likes? I'm like, sure. But I didn't look in to see what it was. Well, apparently, if you watch somebody's video and you like the video and you like the content, there's like a little heart at the bottom below the video, and you can click on it, and you can it's like giving a super chat, but not while you're live. You can do it like on people's videos. I was like, for real? That was like the coolest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, so people can watch your video from like 10 years ago, and if they like the content, they can say thank you and send you a little heart with, like 99 cents or something. So I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, so I figured I'd share that with everybody, because I'd never heard of it before. Even though I clicked yes and said, yeah, I'll do it. I just thought it was like, I don't know. I don't understand how YouTube works yet, but it is what it is.
Sure.
Yeah, that's it. Lynn's got it. Super, super thanks. Yeah.
Georgia Peach was talking about. I've seen something on that too at Yellowstone about how the ground is rising, and they're watching it like pretty heavily.
Yeah, it's been rising for a couple of years. So is Mount St. Helens. Mount St. Helens has got a massive lava dome. It's been growing for years. So I mean, for somebody to say that the approaching the grand solar minimum, and according to the statistics I've looked at, we are in it right now. Like the door just opened to the grand solar minimum. It could last a few years, up into a decade or more. And look at the volcanoes going off. In my mind, right now, I'm telling you, in my mind, we entered the grand solar minimum last year. We're kind of in the threshold. We're just getting into the swing of it. It is setting off these volcanoes. It's cranking them up. It's turning it out. And now we're getting all this ash and all this stuff into the atmosphere. It's going to be lower solar activity. So the radiation is going to be way less. And the planet's going to get colder. I think the growing season, I don't think it's going to completely go away unless the sun just gets blocked out. In that case, we're talking freaking ice age. But I do think the growing season is going to be limited. I do think people are going to have to get really, really creative. 2009, 19.
Well, yeah, Yellowstone goes off, we're probably about all screwed anyway.
So if Yellowstone goes off, a good portion of the United States of America is done. If you're on the East Coast, Florida, the Northeast, you're going to be safe from a majority of the ash, and you're going to feel it. But as far as the ash cloud and the cover, you're going to be okay for a while. But the problem with Yellowstone going off, I mean, like if you live in Russia, you're not worried about Yellowstone going off. Well, that's just stupid, because when Yellowstone goes off, that it's going to throw so much stuff into the higher. That's where it gets you. Like all the volcanoes we got going off right now, they're throwing ash and stuff into the lower part of the atmosphere. When you get it throwing up, up into the highest part of the atmosphere, just about freaking outer space, that's where it wraps around the entire globe and it stays there suspended for decades and it just blocks out the sun. That's what will happen with um, Yellowstone. It's like a few weeks ago when we talked about Tambora when it blew up and we had the winter or the year without a summer, 1816. When Tambora blew, it was like Yellowstone, except it got it high enough in the atmosphere to block out the sun. But the problem is the Tambora explosion was massive. It affected the entire world economy and the growing seasons for a year. But Tambora is like a fraction of the size of Yellowstone. So if Yellowstone goes, I mean, you're talking extinction level event, unless you're one of the lucky ones that has a whole lot of stuff put away, or you're just in the right place at the right time.
I wanted to I wanted to read this to you a little bit here. And I know it's like you said, you'll find one article and then you'll find another article that says, "Oh, that's not true. This is what's going on," and I mean, but this right here is believable as far as it goes for what I know, and it's from Scientific American, and just a scientific journal thing. And they were talking about in 1784, and Benjamin Franklin made what may be the first connection between volcanoes and global climate while stationed in Paris. But anyway, it basically, they're just talking about an enormous eruption of the Lake Fissure system. It's a chain of volcanoes that erupts through cracks and stuff instead of a single point.
Right.
It's in Iceland, caused disruptions. The lake eruptions produced about 14 cubic kilometers of assault thin black fluid lava during more than 8 months of activity. More importantly, the terms of global climate, however, the lake event also produced an ash cloud that may have reached up into the stratosphere. This caused a dense haze across Europe that dimmed the sun, perhaps as far west as Siberia. In addition to ash, it produced hydrogen chloride, hydrogen fluoride, and sulfur dioxide gases, and started producing acid rain because of this. And it said the effects, of course, were mostly severe in Iceland. Ultimately, more than 75% of Iceland's livestock and 25% of its human population died from famine or the toxic impact of the
Yeah.
clouds. And yeah,
As I say, that's the Reykjavik volcano, I think it is, and it's what they call a sheet volcano. It erupts along a tectonic plate, and what that is, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge runs from at the bottom of the globe all the way up through. It actually cuts through the middle of Iceland. Okay, Iceland is actually part of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. So every time that thing erupts, Iceland gets bigger. So half of Iceland is on one tectonic plate, the other half of Iceland is on the other one, and it's the volcano that erupted 10 or 11 years ago, and it shut down air travel all through Europe and everywhere else. You couldn't fly planes anywhere over there, and it caused, I think, like $3 billion or $5 billion in the global economic trade just because of planes not being able to fly. But I think it's called a sheet volcano because it erupts all along a crack. It's not like one little mountain, and it's actually still going off right now. That thing's very, very active.
yeah, and I was going to say too that I noticed. Let's see, what's up, Tennessee? Hutch had said he ain't surviving no ice age. Telling you now, F the cold, I give up. And I know why. Because when I was up there this weekend, he basically took all the wet grass and tried to build a fire with it, and he used like $79.95 worth of gas to get it going.
I was watching. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's if you get like all the small ones going off really aren't that devastating as far as long term effects on the atmosphere and the growing season and the growing cycle. If it's like mid level eruptions, they might linger for a year or two, maybe 3 or 4 years, even up to a decade. But if you get one that goes up into the stratosphere, like up there, like Yellowstone will, like Krakatoa did, like Tambora did, it'll change life on Earth as you know it. Like it'll literally people are gonna die like in masses.
Yeah. And the reason why I agree so much with you, Ghost, is because over here we have the Colorado School of Mines, and back in grade school, um, and middle school, my teacher was in the Air Force, and she was really good. She got us tours and stuff in there a lot, and so we got to see what they would do and how they would track, seismic activity and stuff like that. So, those of us who knew were not, we weren't like really, afraid of these things. We knew that that's natural, that the Earth, did these things. um so it was it's something that I've always kept there in the back of my mind, and I'm glad that I did, because I didn't forget any of it.
I mean, my uncle was in the Pacific Northwest in 1980 when Mount St. Helens erupted. He actually brought home a mason jar full of ash, but that was devastating up there when that thing went off. But here's the thing: that's like that wouldn't even register on the scale if you tried to compare it to Yellowstone or Krakatoa or Tambora. Like here in the United States, we're like, oh man, when Mount St. Helens went off, it was nuts. Yeah, it was crazy, but that would not even register if you compared it to one of the big volcanoes.
Hmm.
It's like if you took Mount St. Helens and multiplied it times 1,000 and put it in the middle of the U.S., and lit it, then that might come close. You know.
Right. And that's what I love about you. Like, I know this stuff, but I'm not good as you are when it comes to explaining these things.
Yes, you are. People like to listen to you. You could read, you could read the poem book and we'd hang out. Yes,
Oh, thank
it's
you, Ghost.
TT's got what he said like 2 weeks ago. There was anywhere from 21 to 26 volcanoes going off all the time now. Yeah, I mean, and that's not high level stuff into the atmosphere, but it's high enough to where it's going to linger for a little while. You know what I mean? It's just going to linger for a little while. And if this thing continues through the winter and that buildup, it's still staying in the atmosphere. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more concentration. Come the spring, it might not be a spring like you're used to. The sun might be a different color. Everything might just be a constant haze. I mean, and then you've got the gases, the sulfur dioxide, and all that stuff. I mean, that's not good for you. I mean, when that Reykjavik volcano erupted in Iceland years and years and years ago, I mean, it literally poisoned 80% of Europe. Like that stuff's not good for you to breathe. And it was high altitude and low altitude. I mean, there's your acid rain. And if you do have crops on the ground, they don't like acid rain. You know what I mean?
Well, I think a lot of it, you know, I don't have to, like go to these big science classes and colleges and all this to just be able to know little simple things like when I worked for the gas company, we had everything we did out there, everything ran off of solar and batteries. Well, we'd get 10, 12 days of, during the first of the winter time or during the winter time, we'd get 10, 12, 15 days and it was cloudy. Man, the batteries would go dead.
Yeah.
There just wasn't enough coming through, and it's not real hard to put two and two together and say, okay, if you get enough of this stuff up there blocking the sun rays, you know what I'm saying? It's going to affect things on the ground.
Yeah. And see, there's a cycle. There's a cycle. We'll talk about the ice caps, the polar ice caps, and the glaciers up north and in Antarctica. There's a cycle that a lot of people don't know about. I can't remember the damn name of it. not the carbon cycle, but basically what happens is the atmosphere or the Earth will get to a tipping point. The reason that there's so much ice in Antarctica and places like that is when the sun beams down on the ice. It's you've been snowblind before, right? Where you're looking at bright white and you can't hardly
Yeah.
see. Right, the ice reflects that light
Yeah.
back into the atmosphere, and it reflects the heat back into the atmosphere, which allows it to make more ice. So the more ice you have, the more ice you're going to get because it's reflecting the heat back. But it also works in conjunction with this. If you've got pollution in the air, like say all these gases and all this stuff that these volcanoes are putting out in volcanic ash, that stuff travels the globe and it settles when it comes out of the atmosphere, it settles on top of the ice and it turns the top of the ice what? Not white anymore, brown or black or a dark color. Well, guess what? Now it absorbs the heat from the sunlight and it melts the ice faster. So people say, "Oh, global warming. What are you talking about? An ice age with global warming?" Well, yeah, the Earth can heat up, and that can cause the Earth to literally freeze.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Backwoods brought up a good point because there are people who are good at reading, the ground and things like that. They're really good at it, and um, but then there are, you look at some of the people today, and they aren't even paying attention. They don't care.
Right.
They'll care when their belly starts kicking their backbone because they can't get no damn food.
Yep, yep, yep.
What's up, Ghetto? Gato.
What's up, brother?
Toe Prepper, what's up, man?
What's good, Backwoods? Hello, Mrs. Susanna. I just heard y'all talk Mount St. Helens, man.
Hey,
I
Ghetto.
just said, hello. I need to tell the world if Mount St. Helens didn't erupt, Ghetto Prepper wouldn't be here. I was born 9 months after it erupted, baby. My parents were stuck in the house.
What better thing to do, huh, when you're stuck in
There you go. There you go.
I
What
Bad,
remember
better-
that
bad.
we had ash all the way over here.
Yeah, it was real bad in Portland and all
Oh,
over
yeah.
the place around here. But yeah, it
What's bad,
reached to what?
bad?
Japan, right? They found it in Japan.
Oh,
Ash from Mount St. Helens.
it circled the globe. I mean, in a thin layer. Nothing huge.
Yeah.
It's globe. But and a lot of people they're worried about what happens when the volcano blows up and all the lava and magma. No, that's not the problem. The problem with the volcanoes, the direct problem with the volcanoes to human survival is the ash in more than one way. One way is, when the ash, especially if you're on, like, say, Mount Rainier, where you've got a lot of ice and all those glaciers, when it
Oh,
blows,
he went there.
that ice splash melts and all that
Okay.
ash mixes with it, and then you get something called a lahar. And that's what you saw on TV with Mount St. Helens when those rivers had all the trees and houses going through it, taking out bridges. Those lahars move at an incredible high rate of speed, and it's like liquid concrete. If you get stuck in it, you are stuck in it, and it literally hardens. It's literally that's what the Romans used to make the Roman concrete. Okay, that we still can't remanufacture today, and it's super super hard. It's the best concrete ever made, and it was a special mixture, and it included volcanic ash. But that's one way it can kill you. The other way it kills you is volcanic ash is just glass. Okay, it's crystallized microscopic glass, and there's actually a disease. They actually gave it a name. I can't remember what it's called, but when you breathe it in, it mixes with the moisture in
Yeah.
your lungs, and it literally turns you to concrete from the inside out. And as you're breathing it, it's like ripping your esophagus and your soft tissues of your lung, and your nose, and your mouth. It's ripping it to shreds. And they found burial grounds from the last major eruption from, I think it was Yellowstone. They found burial grounds like in Arizona and New Mexico and places where there was a water hole and there were fossilized herds of horses and buffalo and things like that that were all dead right there by the water hole immediately after the eruption. And they could tell by the leftover fossilized parts of the body, the damage that the volcanic ash had done to their lungs and their soft tissue, and they actually gave the disease a name. But the one issue that people forget about is ash is very light and it blows around and it's pillowy, but when it piles up, it's very, very heavy. And if it gets a little bit of moisture, then it gets really, really heavy. So, I mean, if you're close to a volcano or if you're in the asphalt area, you got to keep the roof of your house as clean as possible because that stuff it collapses freaking everything. I mean, your roof can only hold so much weight. So if you're in an area where you're likely to get a lot of asphalt, you need to figure a way to get wrapped up, put a mask on something, and get out there on the roof or near the roof with something and try to keep that ash as much as possible off your roof because it will bring it down.
Yeah, you will. It's if anyone's ever been to the exhibit, um, the Pompeii exhibit, um, they'll learn some of that stuff. How people, some of them died, breathing some of that ash in. And I kind of, in a way, not the so much the ash, but breathing it in, like when there's a huge fire.
Yeah,
If you've ever seen somebody who breathes that stuff in, they start to turn black in spots because of it. And you're right. There's names for those, but I can't remember what they are either.
yeah, and you can't outrun a pyroclastic cloud. I mean, that's just rolling death. And those things come down the torrent, come down the side of the mountain or through the valley or the gorge or whatever, and they're like hundreds of miles an hour and cooking it, 5, 6, 7, 800 degrees. I mean, it's like instant death. You ain't gonna outrun them. And you're talking about, like if Mount Vesuvius of Pompeii went off in Italy, that would completely shut down the trade through the Mediterranean. That would completely shut down this. You think the boat turning sideways in the ditch in Suez did some damage? If Vesuvius or Pompeii went off, or yeah, if Vesuvius or Pompeii went off, that would completely shut down trade through the Mediterranean. That would shut down all oil production. It would completely shut it down because that's the direction that the wind blows. I mean, there's another massive supervolcano in Japan, in the north. No, it's in China, in the northern parts of China. I can't remember the name of it, but the nearest town to it, which would be completely wiped out, is the number one producer of these fancy little computer chips that we're short of right now that run everything. That one goes off, everything just grinds to a halt because that's where they make them.
Well, it it does make you wonder, though. We've got a lot of these fault lines and stuff in the United States. We got the New Madrid here by Arkansas, and just a lot of this stuff is connected underneath, and it makes you wonder. This stuff starts moving around and deciding to pop off, and they keep saying, well, these plates are moving and these plates are moving, and there's going to be a big earthquake, and then the big earthquake don't happen. But then you start to look and you're like, well, these plates are moving, these plates are moving. They keep saying there's going to be an earthquake. There's no earthquake, and yet you got these volcanoes like here in the United States, and the lava top is steadily growing. So it makes you wonder if they're you know what I'm saying, if that stuff is moving around at the right way to push
Yeah.
that lava.
Like the Ring of Fire. A lot of people talk about the whole entire Ring of Fire lighting up. I guess it's possible. I mean, the magma all comes from the same place, but each volcano has its own separate magma chamber below it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I guess it just depends on how deep the magma chamber goes, and if two or three big ones going off, if it relieves the pressure on the other ones, or if it exacerbates it. I mean, we really don't know. I mean, but
and we don't know what happens when a nuclear reactor goes off into that fucking ring of fire. Because
right,
Fukushima all of a sudden just disappeared. Nobody talks about that no more.
right. And them some nice armpits you got going on.
Why don't you put me on big screen
That wasn't that
so you
you?
can see it better?
Was that you? Halloween night.
Yeah,
You know that bothers you, Ghost. You know it did. You
get your
know
nose
it does.
get your nose right up in there and just.
You know it bothers you.
That's just disgusting, man.
I know.
I love that armpit hair, baby. You can braid that.
Nah, see, that's some reverse psychology right there. You already admitted you hate that shit.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
I remember the first time I shaved my armpits. I
What
used
the hell?
yeah, for those of you that don't know, I used to bodybuild, several years ago. I was quite large. But and I remember when I first started training with some of the bigger guys in the gym, they all had their armpits shaved. And I used to make fun of them. I'm like, what the hell? Shaving your armpits? Get out of here. That's just stupid. And they're like, you'll figure it out one day. You'll figure it out. Nobody would tell me. They're like, you'll figure it out one day. And about a year into, I'm training, I'm getting pretty massive. I was doing shoulder shrugs with the barbell. Had a couple hundred pounds on, doing shoulder shrugs, just multiple shrugs the whole time. And then when I put the barbell down, I went to raise my arms and I couldn't move them because the shoulder shrug and doing this, it literally tied the hair in my armpits in knots. They were laughing at me. They were laughing at me.
Running around like here.
So what? Yeah, they were laughing at me. So then we get to the locker room, and a couple of them had scissors, and they had to go through here and just slowly, scissors and slowly. I immediately shaved. I'm like, give me a razor. Give me a razor. And shave.
Okay. Ghost. So why do you? So as of 2021, why is it you still shave your armpits? You just like the feeling of it. You just like the feeling of it.
Yeah, baby.
I would tell y'all how that happened to me when this gal was bumping and grinding, but I don't want to get too far into it.
Now, that's a rabbit hole I don't want to get in.
Yeah, what the hell's armpit hair got to do with bumping and grinding, man? You some weirdo
Well,
shit.
he was talking about the hairs moving around like this, and they tied themselves into knots. I'll leave that one alone, man.
Yeah, please do.
That's when I learned to appreciate shaving armpits. Yeah, it was. And I mean, I would have like nightmares about it because anytime I would do something and I would have my arm close to my body and I'm making movements, I'm like, man, I hope I didn't tie. And I'm raising my arm. And that's from that hurt, bro. I was like, what? Because I'm a hairy dude, man. So it wasn't like I only had a little bit of hair under there. I had an afro going.
Buckwheat in a headlock, huh?
Oh, it was bad. They were laughing.
Ghost said it felt like some super Velcro up under them arms.
Rough. Yeah.
So did you shave your legs too, Ghost?
When I danced, I did, but only a couple times.
I used to do it for football players in high school. I used to shave part of their legs and then wrap them up. Yep.
It's like I don't like the hair on my legs doesn't grow halfway down my calf to my feet. It's completely slick, no hair, no follicles, no nothing. And that is directly thank you to Army, the U.S. Army, Uncle Sam with those wool socks and the leg boots. Yeah, there's no hair grows on my lower legs at all.
That's how mine are too, especially in the back.
Yeah.
The back of the calf, some on the front, but mostly on the back all gone.
Go say he got hot top fades on his legs.
How do we go from volcanoes to armpits? We swerve.
We'll circle back here in a minute.
Yeah, no worries. That's why everybody loves Ghetto coming up on board. We never know what we're going to talk about.
Always coming at the good part.
Well, I couldn't stop laughing. Backwoods gave a great visual of the tangled up.
It's like, hey, girl, I can't get away.
I'm stuck. I bet they were man. They was probably dying.
Oh, they were
shit.
Because
I know I would have been.
The part was it had happened to them in the past, and they saved it. They knew what was going to happen. I mean, they were standing there with me when I was waiting, and they it locked up, and they laughed. I'm like, oh man, it was embarrassing because there was a gym full of people. They were laughing, and I'm crying. I'm like, you help me!
So back to volcanoes. So what you know about Mount Rainier, Mr. Ghost?
I know it's way the hell over there, and I'm way the hell over here. I know when it goes, it's gonna tear some shit up.
We're all people don't realize it's one of the most dangerous volcanoes in the United States. It's the most dangerous volcano in the United States.
Yeah, that's part of that. That's
Um,
part of the whole Cascadia thing over there, man.
yeah,
Whew.
yeah, but something about its position though is what I've been researching more about it because the volcanoes are starting to get more active on it. Just like Mount Hood, which Mount Hood, we're gonna lose our top here eventually, which means I'm gonna be really fucked. But that's why I got the full on face, respirators and shit like that for the family. But at the same time, we're gonna lose our top on Mount Hood.
Oh yeah.
But Rainier, it's supposed to be I can't even articulate it right, but it's the position of where it's at is why it's going to cause the most damage and why the scientists say that it's the most dangerous one in the United States
Yeah,
because of the amount of stuff.
your metropolitan areas in the flow area. I mean,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
cities were built on lahar flows, ancient lahar flows. I mean, they literally built those massive towns where the lava came out the last time. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, it's
Yeah,
a great place. That's like pitching a tent in the turning lane on the highway. I mean,
yeah,
what if God somebody's going to turn right where you're at, but it's still the freaking turning lane. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's like building a nuclear reactor on a fucking fault line.
Yeah.
And people want to tell me that the system isn't against us. Think about how they position shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So it's Mount Rainier when it goes. I mean, isn't that the one that'll take out Portland or Seattle? Which one is it? Both.
It would be both. Well, yeah, that's what I mean, to where it's positioned, but it's also going to affect a lot of the United States. Like I said, where it's positioned, you'll have to look into it, dude. There's a lot, and like I loved how you started this whole entire topic because this is why I started prepping was the weather shit like that. I seen the mandates and all that other stuff pre 2020. I'm like, oh shit, let's figure something out. But I've always kept my eye on the weather, volcanoes, and the
Yeah,
sun.
Mother Nature is what's going to take us out. I mean, look,
Yes,
human
and
beings,
they will capitalize on it.
man is the most arrogant cocksucker on the planet. We're so smart.
Yep.
I mean, we are literally so smart. We're freaking stupid. I mean, so at any given time, the human race can deal with the rest of the human race losing their mind. But when Mother Nature comes after you, man, you know, just hope you ain't that one spot, and you might be that fraction of the population that makes it through. But I mean, this has happened before in history. I mean, there was a bottleneck in evolution several hundreds of thousands of years ago, and it was estimated that the entire world population, there was a ELE, an extinction level event, and it was the direct result of massive volcano activity. But it's estimated that the entire human population, which at that time was several hundred thousand people, they estimate that it was reduced to less than 10,000 individuals that survived. And everybody living today on the planet is a direct descendant of those 10,000 individuals. I mean, the gene pool was completely demolished, I mean, and we bounced back, with less than 10,000 people.
I
Well,
think
most of us bounced back. I mean, the two guys up above me and Susanna didn't quite make it in the gene pool. But
Yeah.
at least me and Susanna are sexy. It's cool.
well
Yeah.
something though that you got to keep in mind too about these volcano eruptions is what the jet stream is doing.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That is, we talked about this. Remember, Ghost? I think one of them was, I think, had to do with a nuclear reactor. Because one of the scenarios, and I was talking about how we got a nuclear reactor not too far from us, but the way the jet stream is, I think it's going to, it would miss us.
Right.
Because that's going to be the real important thing is the because like I'm looking at the jet stream right now, and it's coming off the sea and coming up into California, Oregon, Washington, up in that area, and it's going all the way up above the United States, like I mean like real hard, and then it's dipping back down, and it just depends on how far up, the jet stream is going up and coming back
Well,
south.
I'm gonna throw some fish eggs onto this conversation too. Check this out. With the elevated volcanic activity like we got going on right now, and going into a grand solar minimum, all that affects the jet stream. So the direction that it's blowing in right now might change just like that.
I was
That,
just
that
gonna say that. Yeah.
jet stream changes, the Gulf Stream changes with all these temperature changes, and because the Gulf Stream, the ocean currents are what make everything work. If the ocean currents change or shut down, that is global destruction on a level that is unbelievable. You would not believe that the ocean has that much power over the planet, but the Gulf Stream does a really amazing thing. If the Gulf Stream shut down or changed, England is gone. Like if you look at
Sweet.
if you look at the globe, England, all of the UK, all United Kingdom is at a climate level equal to like southern Canada, but they're not because the Gulf Stream pumps all that hot warm water up. That's the reason that they have growing seasons in the UK. That's the reason they have such a warm, temperate climate is because of the Gulf Stream. Or excuse me, the Gulf Stream. If the Gulf Stream changes and or shuts down or moves or shifts, the entire climate of the United Kingdom is gonna be like Canada, maybe even sub Alaska. That's where they're at on the globe. If you look at the lines, I mean that's where they're at. But it's only because of the Gulf Stream that they have a warm climate. I mean, that's going to affect the Mediterranean, all the Mediterranean countries, all the wine countries where they grow the grapes, all that stuff. They're looking at their climate, shifting, 10 degrees. That's bad. Or excuse me, not that climate, but their temperatures in the growing season and winter, they're going to have massive winters and crappy summers.
Yeah, I remember, when I was a kid, that we had snow every year. 12, 14, 16 inches of snow every single year. And now, shit, man, if we get 2 or 3 inches of snow, we think it's doing something. So it's definitely changed over the years. But I did see an
I doubt
article.
y'all gonna see it. Sorry, Backwards, I'm listening. Could you put me on the big screen while he's talking, though, please, Ghost? Go ahead,
Well,
Backwards. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
you don't show no two toes or pits.
I was just you can finish. I didn't mean to interrupt you,
Oh no, that's
Backwards.
all
I
right.
was just gonna ask a question after I showed you the
That's all
clouds
right.
around here.
You always think your stuff is more important than everybody else's. Go ahead.
Well, I believe it is. But you guys notice how the clouds have even changed, like just the shapes of them and how how fast they dissipate and how fast they create.
Yeah.
I think those are the right words. But I mean, the reason why I popped that up there is because that's
Ugh.
exactly what's happening. We've been within this last week, man. We've been in a downpour, then bam, within an hour it's sunshine. But I mean, it's and everybody knows the Northwest. It usually just rains. It's almost like it's holding on to the rainy season, like we usually have 300 and something days a year. But we've been so dry, and then now it's trying to kickstart again. But again, Mother Nature don't know what the hell she's doing. Well, she knows what she's doing, but it's just so random. Is my point.
Yeah.
And the clouds have been I was just wondering if anybody else across the country has noticed the clouds and how fast they've been forming and how fast they go away. And they've stayed longer.
I think it has something to do with the type of the clouds and their elevation and how they move. It may change with the seasons. I don't know. I don't really know a whole lot about the clouds and stuff.
Well, I'm
But
just wondering if the volcanic ash and stuff has got, something to do with the way that they've been,
no, I
because
think
that's how the
the
glass forms, right?
right. Yeah, but I think the ash. The first thing you'll probably notice in the ash is that it's going to change the color of the sun and the color of the moon. There's a very, very expensive, very famous painting. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a painting of the sunset, the summer after Tambora blew, when we had the year without a summer. There's a very, very famous painting of the sunset, and it's like this orange, hazy sunset. And the only reason that painting is made is because the color spectrum on the planet from your eyes was completely changed for like 2 years after that eruption because of all the stuff in the atmosphere. So that's probably the first thing you're going to notice. if there is enough ash up there, is this going to change the color spectrum and the amount of light that actually gets to the planet? Because
I
it's going to
wonder.
around.
I wonder if the clouds dissipating like that, like you're talking about. I wonder if maybe it's got something to do with it's with the cold weather change that we're having right now, and all these cows are out there breathing in the fog in the mornings, and they're farting all day, and that's why the clouds are going away, and that's building up a cloud base. That's I don't know.
Possible.
It seems to be a big thing. The cows farting. So just kind of bringing that up. I don't know.
Like
Yeah.
the amount
Well,
of
the animals are.
ash that you'd have to put into the atmosphere to do a new ice age, or to black out the sun, or change the sun where it affects the growing season, is a lot. Like, it's a lot, and it's got to get really, really high for it to do something drastic from one volcano. But the problem that gets me is that we've got a whole bunch of little ones going off, and you know what? A whole bunch of a little bit equals a big something. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's
it's something like what 43 right now, isn't it? That's
getting,
shooting out smoke.
yeah, getting stung by one yellow jacket hurts. I mean, it's a pain in the butt, but it's not crazy. Stepping on
Could
a net and getting stung by a couple hundred at the same time, that can kill you. That's brutal.
Yeah.
could Yeah, native. Could that not be a cow fart cloud? I mean, could there not be? I'm just
I'm
saying.
surprised people don't talk much about the Russian volcano that's going off. That motherfucker's huge. Don't see
Yeah,
it ever anywhere. You have to dig deep to start looking at these ones that are really going off. Like Japan's got one going off. It's not, it's not colorful lava and all this other stuff, but it's the fact that all of these ones are shooting up ash into our atmosphere. That's what's got me like,
but like when a volcano erupts and it just, it gently blows its top and it just starts spewing lava, we can all deal with that. That's not a bad. But it's when that pressure,
exactly.
it's when you got the gas pressure, like Mount St. Helens, like Yellowstone. When you got that gas pressure built up, that bubble of gases, down there above or mixed in with that huge lava dome, that huge lava tube, when that thing is an explosive, I mean, it blows off the entire top of the mountain. In some cases, it blows the entire mountain away. I mean, look at Yellowstone. There's a depression. There's no mountain there. The entire mountain got pulverized and thrown up into the atmosphere, just like Tambora, like Krakatoa. I mean, when it disappears the entire top of the mountain, that's bad, because that stuff went straight up in the air, and it comes down over a vast, and depending on how high it goes, every if it goes to this level, it takes say a week to come back down to zero. But if every level higher that it goes, it could turn into years and decades. Just complete nothing, no sunlight.
Wow. There's that's the Russian. Well, these daredevil dudes, man. This is the Russian volcano, and these daredevil dudes are look. They're like going and standing right up on top of it and stuff. Crazy jokers.
Well, mankind's not very bright. I
That's
think we
today.
can all agree on that one.
That's happening today.
Well, that's what I mean. Like the media mainstream just keeps focusing on these particular incidents. So you gotta start looking like, okay, what's the real one they're not having us pay attention to? Like La Palma's bad, I get it, but there's also some pretty major ones that we're not looking at.
Yeah,
Obviously,
look,
it's not going to change anything, but
because it has the potential. If half the mountainside breaks off, it has the potential, for a tsunami. Yeah, it's bad, but
yeah,
the way that it's erupting right now is not bad. I mean, it's adding square footage to the island. The island's growing. It's just rolling lava. It's when you get a massive, huge explosion like Mount St. Helens. I mean, there wasn't no massive lava flows from St. Helens that lasted 8 weeks. The freaking mountain
yeah.
blew up. You know what I mean? And that was boom. That's the killer. That's the bad one.
Yeah, I know. I laugh at everybody fucking living in Utah or Oklahoma, Tornado Alley, Hurricane Alley, and me and my family's over here in the middle of all the giant freaking volcanoes.
Yeah.
We're kind of screwed no matter where we're at in the United States, man.
Yeah.
Weather, Mother Nature don't give no fucks.
Yeah, La Palma's doing the same thing Hawaii's doing right now. It's just steady rolling out new square footage, you know. It's doing the same thing Iceland was doing, steady rolling out lava square footage. It was consistent, you know, but it's that one that you don't know about, and then the whole mountain just blows up. That's bad because all that stuff just went straight to the moon and it's got to come back down.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been for a while even maps that have shown even parts of Colorado gone. You know, um, something like that happens. They're just not sure exactly how it's going to happen. So they know it's going to happen eventually. They just don't know how or when it's going to happen.
Well, the problem is they don't know what kind of eruption it's going to be because that volcano, Yellowstone, has had hundreds, if not thousands, of eruptions throughout history. But some of them are massive, and some of them are actually, quite tiny. They're just like it's like the jiggler on your pressure canner. Some of them just jiggle a little bit more than others. But I mean, there's been small, well, relatively small eruptions from Yellowstone, and there's been just massive ones, and it goes in a cycle. Like every couple 300,000 years, there's like a massive eruption, and then sprinkled throughout there are these little small ones. And they've learned that through history because Yellowstone is a hotspot volcano, just like Hawaii. The Earth crust is just moving over a hot spot. So the actual caldera from Yellowstone has moved all throughout the United States, on the western side.
Right, and you can see that as well with the animals, the cycle of when they're going in and out and in and out because they feel it when it's getting close to, closer, and then when it kind of goes down a bit, they go back in again.
Right.
Man, have y'all looked over some of these doomsday maps of the United States?
Some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen some of them.
Seriously, just put something. Art Wildman fell today. Like bad fall. I mean, you have any information or what?
Yeah, did he trip over his cat or fall off a ladder?
I think he fell yesterday, and I think he fell in like an armadillo hole.
Oh shit!
He was laid up last night, but I think I seen him on Kicking It with Harold live stream.
Armadillos live in holes?
Yeah.
Oh, shit,
hell yeah, man! You can be walking through the woods and see an armadillo, and shoot that joker with your shotgun, and he'll disappear. Only you didn't blow him apart. He'll run, and or you can scare him, and he'll run in a hole, man. He'll just disappear in the ground like that.
Burn himself in the
don't eat armadillos.
Huh?
I said, don't eat armadillos.
Oh no! Ugh.
These are nasty.
Go hunting. Shit sounds nasty.
Don't want to eat armadillo. You will. Yeah, that's bad juju.
Yep. According to this doomsday map, it looks like Oregon is pretty much gone.
Yeah, we're fucked.
Nevada, Utah, most of Colorado, part of Arizona, all of California is gone. Good riddance.
Research the 26 states that are preparing for the whole entire West Coast to be gone, man. Once the subduction zone blows, you're talking 9.0 plus earthquake that's going to be lasting more than 5 minutes. It's supposed to break us wide open, and there's 26 states right now. They got billions in funds that are prepared to take us as refugees type shit.
Too late. Your spot's been taken by all those Mexicans coming up through the border. No vacancies for y'all.
Yeah. According to this map right here, the Arkansas River is going to get real big.
If that new Madrid goes off, there's going to be oceanfront property in Arkansas.
Yeah, I'm gonna be pretty much have a very large river lake on just not far from me at all.
So what y'all think? Do you think that they can weaponize the earthquakes and the volcanoes with some hypersonic weapons, microwave bombs, anything like that, you think? Or is it all about pressure under the earth?
It's about the gas pressure. I mean, once that pressure builds up, you gotta have pressure to move water uphill. You know what I mean? You gotta have pressure to move water uphill or pump. So if the pressure is if there's enough pressure locked in that chamber, and you can reach it somehow with an explosion and pop a little hole in it, then yeah, it's going to come out. Period. I mean, it's just like if your pressure cannon, if you got pressure built up in there and you yank the jiggler off, everything inside's coming out that little hole. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's doable. Um, is it feasible? Like, is there a reason to do that? I mean, it's going to go anyway eventually. So why would you want to speed it up, especially if you've got population of people living there? Now, using it as a weapon of war, yeah, feasible. But the problem is if you hit a big volcano and then you freeze the earth. So I mean, you basically it's like pointing the bullet at your head. Why would you do that? But then again, most of the people that make the decisions for the military aren't that smart anyway.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that. Most definitely.
Yeah, depending on ghetto. You live like way up in Washington, don't you?
This motherfucker. Yep. As
Maybe
far as in Kansas as you do.
you may be safe, man, from that doomsday map.
Motherfucker.
You know, the
Nah,
thing.
I think we're all on a doomsday map. I mean, nobody. Honestly, nobody can predict anything. We can pay attention to Mother Nature, but every day she changes something. We know the basics of it, but every day she's changing something. I mean, since I was born, we've been told to get ready for the big one. 40 years later, we're still waiting for the big one. And now with all the chaos and misinformation and real information, it's like, if it happens, it happens. I mean, we prepare for it, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, this motherfucker starts shaking and fucking holes start going into the ground. And I mean, what are you going to do? You can't do shit. I mean, these idiots had us getting under freaking desks and shit when we were scared of the nukes coming from the Russians. So, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, but you got to think about it. There's a reason they make those doomsday maps. That's prepper doom porn, like a lot of us make when we pick out our thumbnails. You want the most disastrous, crazy clickbait.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the doomsday map. I mean, it says it in the title, doomsday map. So they're working up the worst possible scenario. You know what I mean? So
Right.
if that's a 10 on the scale of 1 to 10, I mean, your actual doomsday could be anywhere below that, or a mixture of other things.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the way mankind's going and the way the earth going, it's going to be death by a thousand cuts, like you were talking about earlier. We're going to lose a week or two of sun, of growing, of harvesting. We're going to have to navigate through the time that the earth is giving us. Pretty much, the sun's giving us. I don't
Well,
think
I
it's
mean,
going to be
think
boom
about it.
tomorrow. Everything's gone.
Yeah.
You know
But
what I
if you
mean?
think about it, this past year, this past growing season was screwed up at the very beginning of the growing season. There was a
Yes.
lot of people that lost their shit when they put it in the ground, and then a week later,
Yes.
everything froze. And that
I'm
was
knowing,
right
dude.
after I did my garden experiment, and Backwoods and I were talking about it. That was right after I did my garden experiment when everybody was asking, why are you putting everything in buckets? I said, because I can bring it inside if the weather changes. I can bring it inside
Yep.
overnight and carry it back out. And I had to do it 3 times that first month because it got down and freezing. And it was after everybody had planted. So there were hundreds of thousands of farmers that lost their crop and had to go replant. Some of them had to do it twice because it froze more than once over like a 2-week period at the beginning of the growing season. So now take that and multiply it times 10 and just say you lost those 2 weeks. And then you lose 2 weeks again. That'd be crazy.
I waited till about 3 weeks after spring break here, and I still I planted and everything and had some little stuff growing that I've been growing inside my shop, and went out there and planted it. And dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, it was probably about 3 or 4 days after that we got a little frost. I had to go out there and cover everything up.
Well, I didn't plant until, if you go back at my videos, I think I planted at the beginning of April instead of March. In my mind, I was planting late, but it come to find out, I still planted too early because shit was jacked up. I had to bring my stuff inside 3 times. So now instead of planting, at the beginning of March, beginning to the middle of March, here where I'm at now, you're better off waiting until the middle of April. or planting inside and then bringing it outside.
Yeah, that's what we're doing next year, man. We got microwave this year. We were fucked. I mean,
Yeah.
118 degrees. There was no way anybody in the Northwest Canada was prepared at all, period. I mean, I was prepared in my house, AC and stuff, just because
Yeah.
my wife's an AC whore. Love you, dear. And she likes it cold, so we already had one. But
Like the area I live in, Harvest Mary, doesn't get super super cold, but we do get cold winters. It's changed a lot in the last few years. Like
yeah,
this past winter, it really wasn't that bad here at all. But yeah, you could keep all your plants alive in a greenhouse. I could here with no heat, but just by simply doing a few tricks. Number one, you'd want to have as many barrels or buckets full of water painted black that you could possibly find and line the perimeter of your greenhouse. So during the day, that water heats up, and water is a very good thermal barrier. If you have that hot water, it'll slowly distribute that heat throughout the night. But another thing you can also do is put some piles of compost in the greenhouse on both ends, or in weird little spots. Compost generates its own heat, and it'll heat your greenhouse. There are a lot of people in the Midwest and up in Canada, and that's how they heat their greenhouses in the wintertime is a massive compost pile. I saw one video of a guy, he had two, one at both ends, and he had to take one out because it was too hot in there in the wintertime. But yeah, you can do it. You just got to get creative, and it depends on where you live.
Well, it's basically, like here, like it got down to 28 degrees last night, and if you ain't got heat in your greenhouse, any kind of heat source at all, you're going to wilt the hell out of your plants. It's not going to be good for them.
Right.
So you need some type of heat source, and like Ghost was saying, you can do a compost pile or the black barrels. There's lots of little things you can do.
Yeah, a
I
lot of people
stocked up on a bunch of bags. Ghost, have you tried the bags? Sorry to cut you off.
bags for what?
So, like potatoes, planting in bags. So I
Oh,
got the
yeah, I got the big buckets. I got the big round containers. I think they're like 15 or 17 gallons is what I do the
yeah,
potatoes in.
yeah, yeah. We got buckets as well, but these bags have a little opening on the side of the bag to where you grab all your stuff out from the dirt. And
Yeah, I've
but we
seen
started
that.
stocking up on that, but because like I said, this last year, dude, we lost everything. I mean, the orchards we got. People don't realize we got so many orchards up here in Oregon. You know what I mean? Besides our cow farms and shit like that, and everything. It was like it was what's the word for it? Like irradiated. That's the word, right? When it's too much sunshine or whatever, microwave. It was like it was
Right.
radiated. Yeah, and it killed everything, and all that on top of the government going in and buying all our freaking farms out and canceling all our co-ops across the country, on top of adding all these, government benefits and food stamps and shit on top of all, you know what I mean? Just every single thing at once. It's a no brainer that we're running out of fucking food.
I mean, the common sense answer to a lot of these questions, people are freaking out. I'm not going to be able to get vegetables. I'm not going to be able to fucking grow your own, man. If you're
Yeah.
worried about getting food, if you're worried about being able to get meat, if you're worried about being able to get food from the grocery store, then grow your own. It's 1,000 times cheaper, and it's more sustainable, and it's healthy. Grow your own. If you're worried about meat, get some rabbits. Because I'm here to tell you, them little bastards. There's a reason why they say doing it like rabbits, because they don't mess around. That is their one biological imperative, is to fill the world with rabbits, and that's what they do. I mean, they're cheap, they're easy, they're quiet. You can grow them you can have meat rabbits in an apartment in New York City if you want to. Put them on the balcony because they're not classified as livestock. You can have them anywhere. And one female rabbit can produce as much meat. One female rabbit can produce as much meat as a beef cow in a year.
And here the weather is the way it's changing depending on where you are. Like in the city, especially in the cities, there's not it's snowing more, or it's not snowing as much. So I it kind of boggles my mind at first why people were complaining, but it's because so many people moved here from other states, and they were the ones complaining as they were not used to it. But it is getting a lot colder here.
Yeah. Hey, Moonchild. What's going on, Moonchild? Yeah, and the thing about big cities can affect their own weather. I mean, they're concrete jungles. They absorb heat. So
Yeah,
if
I
you
was
live
just taking a.
in parts of town versus in town, in the wintertime, you're going to be warmer in town because the cities are just going to be hotter. You've got that mass of people all in the same area, so they are going to be warmer.
And just remember, if all else fails, you can go out there on the concrete or asphalt and put down some cardboard and throw a little bit of dirt on top of it and grow stuff.
Yeah, man.
We call that the Oregon growing special.
That was literally the funniest thing I believe I saw on TV all year was that chopped calves garden they had going on.
Yeah.
That was something right there. I was like, they did what? Okay. Yeah, okay. That'll work.
The Oregon special or the ghetto special, just
That was something real.
man, can he change his icon? That's just disgusting, man. There's just certain places hair is not supposed to be. Ugh. I don't care if it grows natural or not. It's just
Oh my goodness. Am I stepping on anybody's toes? Is anybody else live tonight?
I don't know. Let me look.
Oh, Bear's going right now.
Just get your lick in and go. All right, now go.
Survival living.
You want a cake?
What?
German pancake?
Yeah, we all want cake.
Hell yeah, cake's good.
She's talking about some Dutch babies. She knows I love them. Some German pancake. Yeah, will you make one, please? Thank you, dear.
Some dude named Ghost Prepper's live.
Oh, is he? I heard that guy's a jerk.
Yeah. Yeah.
All that missed disinformation.
Sorry, I thought my mic was muted, guys. Can
Did you
you
hear?
guys go, please? Thank you.
That's all right. We love getting a little glimpse of that domestic violence at home.
That was my 15-year-old daughter.
It's still classified as domestic violence. That's domestic violence.
Man.
Child abuse.
Yeah. Well, I got her pretty good with a little flick, and I got her real good, so I have to let her get her free lick on me. And then she's supposed to be going. Now go mind your business, please. Thank you.
Hey,
Don't
Susie.
say that in public. I didn't break nothing.
Hey, Susie D. Our governor today basically told Biden to F himself with the mandate.
Right.
Yeah, he said it ain't happening here.
Hey, Bigfoot.
Hey, Bigfoot.
Dagmar King, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, hello, chat. I'm sorry I can't
Rip
see
Curl.
it.
Rip Curl. Rip Curl says, man up, backwoods. You just buckle down and make that hairy lady's knee buckle on the back.
if it's several years into SHTF and there's no razors around, I've got a good sharp knife. I'll be glad to loan you.
Just teach her how to do shoulder shrugs. She'll rip all that hair right out.
God dang.
Yes, who else is live right now? Let's all just go ahead and congregate over there.
I don't know. Right now, I can't afford all these memberships, man. I might could afford one, maybe two, but then I don't want to have to pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then I'll feel bad about.
Well, I told all the content creators if you're putting out content and you've got your subs that you're dealing with, don't bother, you got your own stuff to do, so the whole doing the membership thing, if you're a content creator, just you do you, I'll do me, and because you've got your own people to worry about, so they're really, I just don't see a necessary crossover of content creators going back and forth. with the membership.
Well, I think it was you that had told me and Hutch, I think it was that because we moderate on your channel, that you thought we should be there during your membership
If
stuff.
you're if you're a mod, it overrides the membership, I do believe. For the chat, it doesn't override the membership requirement for the live stream though. If you're gonna mod during a members only live stream, you have to be a member and a mod. Is what YouTube said, I believe. I'm really not sure on that. I've only done a couple of members only live, so I'm still new to that. But you know, it is what it is.
When am I gonna be?
I mean, if as soon as I get kicked off on this deal that I made with the phone company, you know, and get these properties going and start getting these paychecks regular again, I'll be able to afford some memberships. But I just can't do it right now, man. I
feel you. Rip Curl says, I have a news flash. I'll be doing a video later on a very big sporting goods store in Oregon that has decided to stop selling guns and ammo because they don't want to follow the law and sell long guns too.
Oh.
Two 18-year-olds. He put 18-year-olds down.
I'm interested in watching that video. I know exactly what you're talking about, Mr. Rip Curl.
18-year-olds. Okay. Yeah, that was the last part. Got it.
Wonder when I'm going to be cool enough to be a mod for any of you guys. Nobody likes ghetto.
It's hard enough to trust you to come on the stream without breaking shit.
I knew you were going to fucking. I knew you. So I got a question.
You still ain't answered the question, the scenario from Monday night. Hell.
Plus, brother, everybody's got that one uncle you don't invite to the family reunion. You know what I mean?
That's fucked up.
You send your card and pictures on Facebook or something, but you just accidentally.
That one uncle.
So since you guys are talking membership, you mind if I ask you a question in the chat? A question goes. It's pertaining to my channel. So I had the videos up. The videos. I'm still looking for the exact links that I need because I need to get like 5 different links in the right places to send people. Anyways, so my question is, I was gonna ask people if this video benefits you, shoot me $5 so I can put it back into the community. So the way I wanted to do my channel is, if people wanted to donate to me, I would make sure those donations went back to the memberships to all the other creators. Does that make sense? Like, I want it to come to me, but then go back out to everybody else.
That it does, but I wouldn't do it simply because if you do something like that, that dance is real close to violating YouTube's terms of services.
Yeah, because it's like, you can, because there's a clause in there about like paying people basically to sub your channel and get you more.
See, I was worried about that and the begging aspect, because I ain't trying to beg people, especially on my fucking first video.
But but the thing you got to understand though, you still got to have, what is it, like 4,000 hours?
Yeah, you have 4,000 watch hours, 1,000 subs.
Yeah.
Well, see, I might already have the watch hours. See, that's why I've been going back and forth.
No,
I know backwards. I have a channel.
4,000 hours of your content.
Yeah, I have a channel from 2008 that you guys will never be able to watch. I'm just kidding, but I think I'm pretty close to that mark.
Dagmar, I apologize for calling you brother instead of female, but I had nothing more to go on other than a big D in the name Dagmar. But don't feel like you've been singled out. I do it to everybody. I'm trying to be all inclusive in this new world we live in. So I'm just gonna pick out a few pronouns and just assign them to people. I guess I don't know how it works, but yeah, I apologize. I'll try to remember from now on, sis.
We thought Ghetto was a female for a long time, and we're still not sure.
There they go. Said, I wish, man. I sure wouldn't be on here. I'd be over here with a pruned up hand. Sorry, ladies.
Yeah, it's all the toe and foot videos. That's how you got your watch hours. You nailed it.
No, it was a completely different group. There you go.
Terry, I don't. Terry,
Hashtag foot
I find
fetish, hashtag toe fetish.
I find it really hard to believe that Northern Girl has not got her watch hours yet. That is absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Shit, I binge watched her shit for a while.
Wizard.
Every last person in this community has said something that has hurt my feelings. Why
Hey,
the fuck do I keep coming back?
we're consistent, and you like it.
Yeah. No, I fucking love people laughing, man. This shit don't bother me. Hutch scarred me. I'm not gonna lie. Hutch scarred me. Like genuinely scarred me. I got PTSD from that shit. I can't even look down at my wife's feet no more. Hutch fucking scarred me. So I get it. It's funny, guys. I get it.
Bug Dude says Ghetto's pronouns are toe and nail. Yeah,
Back to the volcano.
If you guys ain't watched Northern Girl's videos, I got to tell you, she's probably one of like her videos as far as video quality. Even if you don't even like the content, just the video quality and the editing that she does in her videos is over the moon. I mean,
yeah, I like her shit. I binge watched hers sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't chat much on people's channels, only through live streams and stuff, but I usually throw the likes and put in the hours. And if I'm doing something, this is also something that helps the creators, guys. If they have those skippable ads, if you go ahead and just play that stuff while play the ads or whatever while you're doing your laundry or dishes or whatever, that's helping them out a bit more too as well. I mean,
oh yeah, I try to watch all the ads.
Yeah. And if I'm not even doing nothing with my phone, shit, I'll pick a creator and just toss something on and then just leave my phone over to the side. I'll have it on mute if I'm not even interested in watching the shit. I'll just,
Yeah.
And then for the big
G2.
G2, you're my neighbor. Come on. But like, so for the big channels, or if we like little flicks or something on YouTube, man, I just go to my Hackable app for YouTube and just watch it on that. That way I don't have no ads, or my music and stuff. I'm gonna do a video on how to get that as well. But I recommend nobody do that while we're watching, our favorite creators. But you can avoid all ads and all that stuff. You just got to get the.
Some are funny as shit.
Yeah.
I was watching Off the Wall. I logged on to watch your live stream, and at the very beginning it had an ad, and the ad, it was an awesome commercial, man. It was this chick cooking breakfast for her old man or her husband or whatever, and it was I watched it because it was a cool ad. And she's in there cooking eggs, making some scrambled eggs. She's bringing them to her man, talking about these delicious scrambled eggs. And then towards the end of the commercial, it shows a little container that it comes in, and it's eggs made completely from plants. So it's not even eggs. So they're tagging prepper channels with the and the end of the ad said, please help us take a stand against the immoral and inhumane harvesting animals, and those are the kind of ads they're putting on prepper channels. I laughed.
It's great. When I started in this community, actually, it was Unspecified Podcast, and he was always restreaming all the live streams and stuff for all the riots and the BLM and all that stuff. Every single time I would go to his videos, dude, there would be 2 or 3 BLM ads in there. I'm like, I even recorded it to show him. I'm like, dude, you realize you're promoting it while you're. They know what the hell they're doing. Check out private chat real quick, though, Ghost.
Hey, Stuart.
Fuck me. I do that all the time, man. I can't help it. I get people. Boy, girl things got me all screwed up now. Like I'll call guys, girls. I'll say she instead of he. I'll call it him. I do it all the time. I mean, y'all don't take offense to that. It ain't like I pick out one person and do it. I do it to everybody. I don't mean to.
You
It's kind of easy to do it with backwoods.
Ghetto, once you get on the panel with Ghost enough, man, you'll learn to not listen to half of what he says.
Yeah, I do the whole
That's a
he's
lot for you.
from her thing.
I'm
I
amazing.
don't know, for some reason I've always been that way. I always say the wrong thing. I don't know why though. It's weird.
But not with you, Susanna. We know you're all woman.
How have you been, Ghost? Have you
What?
have you been okay? You haven't been having, any spells lately or anything?
Yeah, some small ones. Not bad though. I mean, I ain't got another concussion. That one finally healed up. Yeah, that doctor's appointment was a hoot. My ankle still won't. The swelling in my ankle won't go down for some reason. My ankle's massive. I don't know what the hell I did to it. I think I might have like dislocated it, or because what happened is it like when I passed out, like my foot went under the door of the refrigerator. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I may have like dislocated the ankle or something, and that swelling just will not go down. But the knot of my head finally went down, and my back's healed up.
That's
But yeah,
good.
they still don't know what it was. I mean, my blood's good, my blood sugar's good, my blood pressure's good. You know, no idea. I mean, what I'm thinking is I may have had like some really good nightmares going on, and one of the doctors hinted that it was for those of you who don't know it, if you have like a panic attack or a severe anxiety attack, what happens is your brain floods your body with adrenaline, and you
Mhm.
can legit OD on adrenaline. And what it does when if you have like a massive anxiety attack, if you basically OD on adrenaline, your body's safety measure is to just shut the shit down. Like somebody legit flips the switch and you just go dark. And so that's what they're thinking it was. Is that like apparently I got up in the middle of like a crazy nightmare, but I don't remember it because that's also what happens during the thing is you'll have limited amnesia. That's why I couldn't remember anything. So that's the only thing that really legit makes sense. But I don't know. But I know it was a big ass knot on my head and I cracked the tile in my kitchen. I gotta regrout that shit. It was a doozy. I mean, that's a long fall, 6 foot 2 inches in the air on ceramic tile.
Yeah, I'm glad you're okay. I was just concerned, you
Yeah,
know.
I'm good. Yeah, yeah. It was just weird, man. It was just the weirdest thing. I mean, it's not my first concussion by no means. I mean, I knew for a fact I had a doozy of a
Hey,
concussion. But it was something. But
hey, Ghost.
yeah, man,
Can you hear me right now?
I'm answering you.
All right. No, I had switched over when I said, "Can you hear me right now?"
Oh yeah, yeah.
Have you been? I was looking something up for you because there's only one disease that makes you pass out when you panic, and it's called vasovagal syncope.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
a
know if
vague.
I'm
Yeah,
saying that right,
it's
but has
that's basically what I just said. That's the
okay. So
thing.
you've been tested for that specific because that's the only thing that'll cause you to actually pass out from
Yeah,
panic and the adrenaline
that's
overload.
that's the shutdown. Yeah, that's the
Did
shutdown
you
switch. I just couldn't remember the word.
did you say
Okay, yeah.
did you say massive vaginal sinkhole?
Yeah, there you go. I'm trying to be articulate and help a brother out. I was just
That's
curious if that's what they had told you.
it's
Because
either it's got to be
it was
that a vasovagular thing, or it's got to be like I had a seizure or something. That's the only thing
yeah.
other I can think of it. But I've never had one before, so I don't know.
Yeah, because I've done extensive through, through going through PTSD and shit, for years. I've gone through all kinds of research and shit with the doctors when it comes to like panicking and the adrenaline and all this other stuff. And they're like, every single doctor that I've ever talked to is like, you can't your body doesn't it shuts down in a certain way, but you won't pass out from it. Only one condition coupled
Right,
with panic attacks can actually cause you to
right.
um, pass out and stuff.
I can pronounce it. Vasovagular or something.
Yeah, it's
It's got to do with the vagus nerve.
vasovagal syncope. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
got to do
it's
with the
crazy.
vagus nerve. Yeah. Because that's also what you do. You stimulate your vagus nerve if you're having a AFib, if you're having atrial fibrillation. One way to
Oh,
help
okay.
you stimulate your vagus nerve by an ice pack or something cold, and you
Yeah,
just lay it on your vagus nerve, and it'll bring your heart rate back. And another way to do it is to exercise. That's the easiest, one of the best ways to stop the AFib is moderate exercise. Or I know it sounds gross, but the doctor even said it. Go take a number 2, because when you bear down,
Yeah.
it helps get your heart rate back into rhythm.
Yeah, it makes sense. Exercise is actually one of the best things for panic and extreme anxiety as well. You're given a place for all the adrenaline to go.
Right.
But it does the opposite. That vascular stuff, basically, when you're all amped up, your heart rate goes up. Well, with this condition, your shit goes down like that.
Yep. And I mean, the only reason it was so weird is because it's the first time it's ever happened to me, and I've been dealing with PTSD for 2 decades. So, you know, but
Yeah.
it is.
Oh, what's up, Cuzzo?
But the thing is that with the passing out and the amnesia, the temporary amnesia, I don't remember. That's why everybody asked me what happened. I'm like, I don't know. I just remember waking up. I don't know what happened before, during, or anything. I just remember the aftermath. Yes, I have no clue what
Yeah.
happened. I mean,
Yeah.
I literally had to go look for the shit that I bounced off of. I went to the bathroom and I had completely moved the shelving, which is screwed into the wall, by the way. Shifted it 2 inches to the left when I hit it. That's how I cut my back and bruised my back. And then in the kitchen, when I was walking around, obviously I knew I broke the refrigerator door because I picked it up off the ground and put it on the counter where I broke the shelving. But when I was walking in there, I stepped on the piece of the tile where I busted it loose and I heard it crack and I looked down and it was all busted up. I'm like, damn, okay, that makes sense. That's where I hit my head because that's where I was laying. But I don't know I don't know the workup to any of that. I remember being in bed and I remember waking up on the floor.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so
That
it
was
was fun.
recent?
What, about 3 weeks ago, Susanna? 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Sorry, I'm not thinking. I have a hole in my thigh myself, so um yeah,
And
about
that
3 weeks ago. So
and that face. I mean, NGH, Northern Girl Hobbies. Northern Girl in the house. There she is.
yeah. Hey, Northern Girl.
We were just talking about you. Click the link and come up here for a second, Northern Girl, if you got a chance. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, her ears are burning.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost, if it wasn't for it being your health, man, because all the BS, I like to BS with you and stuff, but I love you and stuff, man. But boy, I sure
Here
could
he
go
goes floating.
a lot of bad places with the way y'all were talking a while ago.
Oh, I know, right?
I'm over there like, just be quiet, because I don't want,
Yeah. No, but I mean, I'm healthy as a horse. That's why it just blew me off. I mean, it'd be different if I had blood pressure issues or if I was diabetic, but I'm not. The only thing I do is drink. And it was funny because that night, I had like 3 beers that night. That was it. And for me, that's nothing.
my vagus nerve is healthy as a horse too.
My Vegas nerve lost all my savings in Vegas. I have no Vegas nerve. I go out there and I always bet on black. What was that movie? Wesley Snipes, Passenger 57. Always bet on black.
Yeah.
I love me some Wesley Snipes. He is a shitty actor. I don't know how he ever got cast in any movie. The only movie he ever did good as an actor was Blade. That's because you're not supposed to be able to act if you're half dead. The rest of his movies are shit. He's just hilarious. He's just a funny dude.
I was gonna say, man, White Man Can't Jump was pretty good. I think he did
The
all
only
right
reason
in
why
that one.
was good is number one, it was Woody Harrelson, and number two, that chick that he was hooked up with, his old lady, was hot.
Yeah.
And my name is Billy too, so yeah, I enjoyed that movie.
That was a good flick, though.
That so today I was sitting there.
There you go, Northern Girl.
Today I was sitting there watching some TV while I was eating lunch, and I was flipping through the channels, and the movie "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker" was on. Have y'all ever seen that?
Yeah.
Man, that is the most freaking hilarious freaking movie ever, man. I laughed so dadgum hard, man. It took me like an hour to eat my lunch.
Actually, I'm gonna eat my words. I'm gonna go back on that. I think Wesley Snipes kicked ass in New Jack City. That
Oh
was
yeah, I was gonna say, man.
New Jack City. Awesome.
Have
That
you watched Sugar Hill?
Yep. I watched everything he's ever done, bro. Even that stupid one he made when he got out of prison, where he was a cowboy ghost or whatever, vampire.
Yeah.
Gallows.
Sugar Hill was the shit. Yeah, Sugar Hill was the shit. I liked it, that one, and New Jack City for sure.
We have a celebrity in the house. What's going on, Northern Girl?
Can you hear me?
I know that girl.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear
Hello,
you.
Miss Northern Girl.
I'm not a celebrity by any means. I just do the shit. I just do stuff.
I hear you. I got a question for you. It has been brought to my attention that you do not have your watch hours yet.
I think I'm off by like 300.
That doesn't make any sense. What are you looking at? Are you looking at the 28-day recap, or are you looking at like the whole year recap? Because me and Backwoods did the same thing when I got monetized. I thought I was short, and then he showed me the button to hit, and I was like 300 watch hours over the limit, and I didn't know it because YouTube doesn't track it that way.
Yeah, when you pull up your watch hours, it automatically
28
defaults
days.
28 days. And you've got to go on there, and there's a drop down, and you can go back to 365 days, and that's how they base it, is off of 365 days.
But what you can also do is go to your monetization tab and
Yeah.
open it up, go to the bottom, and it shows you a live count of your watch hours to get monetized. I clicked on that, and I was already over it, and I didn't even know it.
Yeah. So when I go to the monetization tab on YouTube Studio, it says 7,313 public watch hours.
Right.
But if I'm in TubeBuddy, it shows me something different. It shows me that I have almost 2,700 subscribers. YouTube is only showing me 2,690. So,
yeah. If your monetization tab, you just said it showed you had 7,000 watch hours.
No. 3,000. What did I just say? 3,713 watch hours.
Now, is that directly from the monetization tab over on the left, or are you looking at analytics?
Yeah, no, I'm on YouTube Studio down under monetization.
Because I find it hard to believe you're not over 4,000. I mean,
it's because people will click on my videos and don't watch the whole fucking thing.
Can I ask y'all a question? So is it subscriber watching it, or it shouldn't matter? It
doesn't matter, but you can only watch it one time. Now I can tell you that for those that once you watch the video, that counts as your hours. I could go back in there and watch it 10 more times, and it does not give.
And that's not gonna matter. All right, I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up tonight, Northern Girl, and try to help you in a way.
Do this, Northern Girl. This is what I did to get my watch hours up. I made a playlist. I put like 30 or 40 videos in a playlist, and I just asked people to watch my playlist. And my hours, I went like it only took a few days. I just made a playlist. I just dropped in a whole bunch of videos.
I have a pile of playlists, including a binge watch one that people could just play overnight if they don't want to hear me.
Right. I have a master playlist like that.
Yeah.
You have that on your channel. Everybody in the chat tonight, y'all do me a favor. Before you go to bed, go to Northern Girl Hobbies channel. If you're not subbed to her, please do. I'm pretty sure Roots has already dropped her channel a couple times. Sub to her and go to her master playlist or her binge playlist. Click play and just turn your volume way down. You don't want to mute it. If you mute it, it does not count. The volume has to be on, but just turn it way down and just let that thing run. And let's get her watch hours up.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. It's not going to take much. It's only like 300 hours off. It's grown exponentially, and I really, really appreciate everyone who has helped out the channel. And I've been getting good feedback too, and so I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoy your channel too.
You and I both hit 1,000 subscribers within a few weeks of each other, and I'm like, how can you not? And we both have the same amount of subs. We're both right at 2,700. And I'm like, how can you not have 4,000 watch hours? That doesn't make sense.
That's very important, though, Ghost, what you said. And then Stuart just said it. Do not mute.
Yeah, if you mute it, doesn't
count. It will not count.
Well,
So
I also don't do a whole lot of live streaming. You know what I mean? So that impacts it, and I think also being a moderator too on some big channels, I might be a little bit suppressed, which is fine by me. Because I'm here to also not just share information on my channel, but I'm here to help out other channels
Right.
that need to get information out.
Yeah, the live streaming does help a lot, but I mean, I did very few live streams until Backwoods and I hooked up and started doing them together. But we both got monetized at about the same time. We got monetized within 3 days of each other, and
Yeah.
and I'd only done a few live streams, and it was because of my master playlist. You know, I just did. Well, I did one on. I just every time I uploaded a video, I uploaded it to my master playlist and to YouTube. So every single video I've done was on the master playlist. So I had like 30 or 40 hours nonstop worth of videos, you know, that people could just binge watch. And you know, it worked really, really fast and really, really good. You know, and all the subs did it. I mean, it didn't take any time at all, you know. And you know,
here's sorry, Ghost. Were you done? Sorry about that.
I'm
All
going
right, so here's a little ghetto hack for you members in the chat, and this is what I'm gonna do tonight for Northern Girl. I have three devices that are outdated. I have three separate YouTube names on those, and I'm gonna go put her playlist on tonight, and I'm gonna go put it in my garage, and I'll just let her playlist play all the way through the night until I wake up, and you know, just basically just let it go. We all have those extra devices that are just sitting around. That's how I help people get up to the numbers that they need when it comes to subscribers as well. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you just use random names on your other devices.
Yeah, totally. And I've been helping people out like that too. Totally respect that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
And
for sure.
if you're
and
not
I love
uh,
Tupac tunes too. So I like your planet. We'll call it Ghetto Prepper.
Hey,
Thank you.
Toe. Yeah,
Hey.
Backwoods dropped your link again. So if you guys aren't sub, please sub to Northern Girl and watch her binge list. And let's get this thing where it should be, because that is complete and total bullshit.
Do not corrupt Northern Girl. She does not know anything about gay toe and all this other stuff. Okay? Do
Now
not
The ghetto?
corrupt everybody.
Now she's gonna ask.
Well, I do know certain things about the ghetto, but we won't get into that here.
Yeah,
But
see?
thank you. I appreciate that very much. So
No, I was saying gay toe because that's his name for me. But Canadians are too nice to be dogging me, man. They're too polite, not like you dumbass Americans.
Look, I've seen Northern Girl in a bad mood. I've seen her go off on people. Don't even go there with that Canadian people.
I mean, we can only take so much sometimes too. And you know what? Yeah, the stress is getting you know, some of us. Trying to do the shit, trying to do the freedom shit, trying to do the prepping shit, trying to like, oh my goodness, like what is going on with these lids that we are purchasing at these stores? Like, are you also having the same issue? This is what I need to know.
I had a stockpile before all this stuff started. I had thousands and thousands of lids just because I knew they're all only used one time and I like to can. So every time I go to the store, I get 2 or 3 cases of lids. And then all this stuff started. So I had a stockpile. I've just now recently been getting new lids just because they're coming back in the stores. But you can just look at it and see the quality of the metal is different. The color of the metal is different. And amount of the rubber on the seal it's a smaller amount. And what is on there, it isn't even put on there correctly. There's a lot of overhang on the outside. And it's just, it's like it was rushed into production, or it was a new machine that was producing them, and the quality of them is just shit. Like literally, they look like crap compared to the old ones.
So what do we do about this? Like, do we all email the companies? Do we bitch about it? Like, I don't even know what to do at this point. Is there a solution that we could do on our own to change things up? Because I'm getting to the point where I'm getting upset, because when you're pressure canning and doing canning, water bath canning, whatever you're doing, and then you have like jars that aren't sealing, it's like, okay, so now what? They're going into the freezer until I'm ready for another batch?
I mean, honestly, I haven't had any fail because of that yet. I'm just hoping it's like a glitch, something they'll get back on track. But if they've switched production to doing cheaper quality lids, or they're making them thinner. That's what I think they're doing. I think they're taking a percentage out, and they're basically using less
Like
aluminum
more,
foil
yeah.
lids because there was a shortage of metals and stuff. So I think they're just cutting corners, trying to get production up, and hopefully once that stops, the quality will go back up. But I haven't had any of them fail yet, and I've used a couple of packets. But you could tell. I mean, when I opened it up, I looked at them. I'm like, wow, who made these lids? It's like that guy's first day on the production line because they look like shit. The seals were put on there crooked. But I haven't had any issues with them yet. I'm hoping they'll switch back. I mean, we could write letters and email all we want to, but man, the people in charge, they don't listen to anything we say. It's like when people go, I wrote my congressman. Big deal. He never read it. One of his aides read it. And,
nobody gives a shit because they're all freaking zombified.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry, you know what? Everyone's got zombie brains, and nobody gives two fucks.
Yeah.
Could it be old stock lids that they're sending out now? Like, I mean,
nah.
No, I think it's the new stock stuff that is the crap.
Yeah, we completely killed their inventory of stock.
There's not a way that it can expire, the lids or anything. There's not a way that it can get too old.
No, it's the quality of it. You can tell by looking at it. When you pick it up and look at it, it's a different color. It's a different shade. The metal is different. You know what I'm saying? It's different. It's brand new, but it's different. It's like the quality is way down. It's like maybe they kicked up production a little bit or something. But what I will say is it's only on the individually packaged lids. I haven't seen that difference on cases of new jars. Like the new jar cases, those lids seem to be good. But it's the individually packed, replacement lids that I've seen that look different.
So what they do before lids and jars? I mean, I know jars have been around forever, but I imagine lids haven't been around as long as the jars part. What they do before canning? I mean, is there any methods out there that they did before canning?
Well, some of it was wax, but not all of it. Yeah.
Just salted their meat or made jerky out of it. Mostly you salted your meats and stuff like that. And like for your root vegetables, your root crops, it was a root cellar.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and I think that I'm going to be resorting to a whole lot of smoking, like making jerky with turkeys and beef and stuff, because for me to put the effort in to be pressure canning and then have these lids fail, it's just an utter waste of time. It really is.
Yeah, that would completely piss me off.
Yeah, I don't know about the wax sealing. I was never taught how to do any of that. Sherry Leach asked me, are you getting Bernardin lids? Most Bernardin here, yeah. And they are super thin, and that little bubble thing, even if you're popping it, you know what I mean, without even before putting it onto your jar, it doesn't even have a popping noise. Barely. It's barely even there.
Yeah.
Cheap China crap.
Yeah, all I use is ball, and I was lucky enough to have a surplus before all this stuff started, so I haven't been forced to use the new ones that much. I mean, I have used some in the last few shows, but they work fine for me, but they're all ball, but there is a difference in the production. I mean, it's different quality material.
I don't even know if I can get the ball stuff here.
Like, yeah, I use mostly ball, but I do use purr as well. I haven't had any problems with them myself, but I know that some people do have problems with them because I've seen them buckle on people, and things like that. And so I don't know really what's going on. It's hard to say for me because I haven't had that problem yet, but
you can't order them from Walmart, Northern Girl?
I try not to order online, to be honest with you, but I'm taking notes tonight on a whole bunch of different things.
Well, I know a lot of people have been ordering them through Walmart, and what they do is they order them and they have them delivered to the store, and they just pick them up at the store.
My Walmart is like over an hour away.
Oh, wow.
And you know how it is in Ontario. Yeah. Fun times.
Yeah.
Well, Northern Girl, I'm being sincere here. If you're buying lids locally that are not quality, I mean, is it not worth the trip? I'm just asking. I mean, being sincere, asking a question. I mean, to go ahead and spend that hour to go and get some lids that might be, because it would seem like to me once you start that process and your lid doesn't pop, then basically you've got to pretty much eat that food like within a few days, right?
Or it goes back into the freezer until the next canning session.
Right.
But I don't know. Like I'm up to a lot of stuff. Like I don't just sit here and watch YouTube and moderate. I have a mini homestead. We've been getting wood. We've been hunting. We've been fishing. I have my mom who's sick. She's palliative stage 4 right now at home. I have a shit ton of stuff. The garden, is like, now we have to can all this stuff, preserve all this stuff. And this is a lot of things that people do not realize. My plate is full. I also sell Avon. I have a business. Ollie's working full time. And trying to manage everything is just sheer insanity right now at this point. And trying to remain like in a good state of mental health amidst all the craziness going on in Canada with this crap, and trying to attend freedom rallies.
I would try to order online. I would literally just do the Walmart order online or Amazon so you can get it to your house and see if they're any better quality. Because that's where a lot of people have been getting them. They've just been ordering them and either picking them up at Walmart or having them delivered to their house.
The Walmart we have, they're off brands of ball. They don't even have any balls around our Walmarts. They're off brands. It was like overnight. It went from, I can look them up again, but I went to buy it, and it's good prices, but again, they're not ball. It's probably the same shit that she's getting. Some, random Chinese crap.
Honestly, I'd take a chance and reuse a lid before I would use the new stuff. And I've reused lids before, and I haven't had any failures from that.
I'm thinking the exact same thing. The old lids that were good quality, I'd rather reuse one of those old lids that actually had the seal rather than use the crap that we have now. Totally.
I got no problem using them. I've reused them all the time, and I haven't had any issues. Sherry Leach says, Ghost, can you redo a jar with a new lid on? I'm assuming what you're saying is, are the jars reusable? You can reuse those jars for as long as you want, as long as they're in good quality, as long as there's no scratches. Jars, I know people that have jars that are approaching 100 years old, and they're still using them to this day. But you got to take care of your jars. No metal utensils in the jar, no metal utensils at all inside that jar when you're getting stuff out or anything. Because if you put like a minute scratch on it, it's going to weaken the jar, and the hot cold cycle of the canning process will make it pop. So yeah, you can reuse a jar over and over and over.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
What about like a glass jar for like pastas and stuff? I mean, you think you can what would you be able to do with those ones?
Talking about vacuum sealing pasta in a jar?
No. I'm talking about like the spaghetti sauce jars. So like our ragu and stuff like that come in the jars.
That do recan with those. I've never done it. I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people that do that and swear by it. People, grandparents and great grandparents. I've just never done it.
Dude, I got huge totes full of those jars and lids.
Well, for those, like, what you could just do, like oven canning and put your stuff, like oven can your dry goods.
Yeah.
What's that?
You could vacuum seal in those.
Yeah, I vacuum. I usually just vacuum seal my dry goods. But what you talking about, Northern? Like the oven? What is that?
Like oven canning. So all you have to do is like you can put your rice and beans or whatever in there into those old jars, put them into your oven, and you're putting them on like a low heat for a certain amount of time just to kill off anything that might be in the jars, and then you're good to go.
Is it 200?
Somebody brought up a good point in there too. Someone who lives somewhere, but depending on where you live, you will have different brands that are name brand, big jars in those areas. Somebody said Bernardin. There's Kilner and there's Weck in different places that they use. So yeah, just to address people who live in other places, there are. I know that there are jars there of those brands.
Yeah. Yes, you can use an oxygen absorber in anything you want to use it on, as long as it's a sealable container, whether that be a a Mylar bag, a mason jar, or latch style jar lid. Now, as long as the seal on the latch style jar lid is still good and it holds, it's a barrier for any kind of movement of air or oxygen. Yeah, it'll work just fine. And you can replace those seals. You can buy new seals at the store too.
Yeah, if they're from 1908, because her comment right above that was her brother found a bunch of jars with the latch style lid. I'm like, yeah, you'll probably have to replace the gasket. I mean, 100 years old, I imagine. So
Yeah, WEC uses jars like that, where they have latches.
Yep, they sell those.
Different.
They sell those seals in the canning section, Sherry Leach, at most places where you can buy your canning supplies. You can find those seals, and a good place to find quality canning stuff is Ace Hardware.
Right, that's where I get mine.
Yeah, Ace Hardware, man, they are awesome. They have all kinds of stuff.
Never even thought about that, but that makes sense.
Dude, Ace Hardware has everything. The one in my town, dude, I can get car parts at Ace Hardware here.
Yeah, you can get a lot of shit from Ace Hardware around here too.
It's awesome.
Yeah, they have replacement parts for my canner at Ace Hardware, so I like that too.
Yeah, I used to love going there when I was a kid. What was it? True Value Hardware or whatever. Has it always been Ace to you guys? It used to be True Value for us.
It was always Ace there.
I think they merged. I think Ace and True Value merged.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to say maybe it's like the Winco Cub Foods thing. But
hopefully here in the next 24 to 48 hours, Northern Girl, you hit your mark with your 4,000 if you only had a few hundred to go.
Yeah, like a couple hundred. I think it'll happen, and I appreciate it. I'm gonna drop down, and I'm gonna head into chat. I do have company over too, and so I'll be in the comments. Okay.
We'll get you there, Northern Girl.
Get you there.
Right on. Thanks, man.
Love you, Northern Girl.
Okay, we'll see you later. I'll be in chat.
All right.
I won't be on too much longer, but we will hang out for a little while. I don't want to step on any toes. I know a few people are supposed to go live tonight. I know Tribe's doing his members only. So if any of you guys in the chat are members at Tribes, y'all go ahead and head over there. Ain't no feelings gonna get hurt here. I'm not sure.
Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
I had to. My wife's in the house. I had to call her and tell her that she needed to bring me something to eat out here. No, I'm kidding.
No, you're not. You probably did it.
No, she'd have been like, "You bring your ass in here and get it yourself." No, she would bring it out if I asked her.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah, I believe I'm gonna go ahead and stick a fork in this one here in a few minutes. If anybody got anything else for us you want to talk about, right in the chat.
No, just really and truly, all this stuff going on, it does. I noticed a couple of people had mentioned, to somebody actually asked you to talk about stress and they mentioned Northern Girl.
Yeah, I think we'll do it. And I saw that right when she said she was stepping down. I didn't want to stop her, so what I'm thinking about doing is making that the topic for tomorrow night's show.
Okay.
Tomorrow night was going to be a recap, but I can recap and just do a topic on dealing with stress, in this situation, especially from a prepper's point of view.
Yeah, I think that's a real good topic to cover.
Let's steal something from Prepper Tribe. If y'all agree with that topic on dealing with stress, hit a 1. Give me a 1. Type 1. Is that how you say it?
Well, since I can't do that 1.
Yeah, throw me a 1 out there too, because man, that's the most important prep anybody needs is mental preps, stress, all that stuff.
Well, Ghetto, I'm sorry, Ghost, go ahead.
I'm just looking at all the ones.
Ghetto, that's one of the things at the end of my videos. I came up with a saying, I wanted one of them little ending catchphrases, and it's when you prepare your mind properly, everything else will fall into place.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, and that's something to me that, I put it in the chat a lot even, I say, man, you guys need to prepare your minds, man. You need to be preparing your minds.
My mind's preparing for this right here, Backwoods.
I can see. Look at that.
Look at this Dutch baby. Y'all had Dutch baby before? I mean, I'm sure you have.
Is that toe jam casserole?
It
Man,
does
put me
look
on
like
the big
toast.
screen, man, so you can salivate.
If you look at that one side right there, it does kind of look like toes. Did
Man, don't ruin my food, man. Shut up.
look that looks
Hey,
like a big
Is
does
that
that
toe,
not, does
is
that
that
not
toe,
look like a big toe curled up right there?
that's toe jam?
Son of a bitch.
It's like a casting of a Bigfoot print.
Boot him. Boot him, Ghost. I'll give you $100 super chat. Just boot him.
Well, first
Here's
you
a
gotta be
$100
honest.
super
First
chat.
you gotta be honest. Is that toe jam casserole?
It's called a German pancake, a Dutch baby.
Well, the way it's curled up on the edge, it looks like one of them toenails that got that fungus.
Motherfucker, man.
Got that fungus that started doing that weird curl to it.
Yeah. Ooh.
It's like everybody gangs up on me, Susanna. You got to help me here. I don't know what to do.
That foot looked like it had athlete's foot bad too. It was all cut.
I just want to belong. That's all. I just want to be part of the cool crowd, and they're not very accepting.
Somebody throw him a Scooby snack.
Please do. And a fucking doobie.
I actually have Scoopy snacks.
She's like, shoot, I'm sitting there munching on them. What the fuck?
They're graham crackers. It's in the shape of Scooby snacks.
Yeah, I got some in the cupboard for my kids.
If I have any mods left, can y'all drop
Yeah,
tribe channel?
I got it. I got it right here, bud.
Cool. Coming up, Julie. Even the Canadian North Shore said that looks like a big toe for sure. That's definitely toe jam casserole.
There's Prepper Tribes right there. But now what he's doing tonight is a members only, so you'll have to join his membership, and it's $2.99 a month, I think, is what his is.
Northern Girl didn't say no such thing. That was North Shore.
That's what I said. I said it's another Canadian North Shore.
Yeah,
Well,
North
he don't
Shore.
matter.
Yeah, he knows what's up.
He don't matter. I thought you said Northern Girl. I'm like, hell no, she didn't do that. If she did, I'm not gonna give her 40 hours of viewing tonight.
Sorry, Ghetto. I don't know what to say.
No, you're good. You're good. At the end of the day, I don't care if the whole entire chat gangs. I love it when people laugh. It don't bother me none. It's it's honestly all a joke. It's all good.
It's obvious. You ever looked in the mirror, you're used to people laughing at you, so you ought to be used to it by now.
There you go. See? And that makes him feel better about himself, so he can get off here and be like, yes, I feel so good about myself. I was able to beat up on the disabled guy, even though he's not.
Well, if I wasn't on this medication, I'd probably come up with some stuff, but I'm not like really.
Ghetto.
It's like, wait till my medication's done, Ghetto. I got some good ones against you.
Ghetto, I do got a question for you, brother.
There you go.
Like straight up. When your wife was pregnant, and a pregnant woman, it's hard for them to bend over, So like,
don't cross no line backwards.
No, I wouldn't. I would never. That's
all right.
You'll find.
I didn't like the way this one was going.
No, I'm saying like when you helped take her shoes and socks off, did you pick her toe in out?
Hell no, she'd do that shit herself. I ain't touching her. I don't care if she's 9 months pregnant. No, I'm just kidding.
Ghetto, man, come on.
That don't, man. I give my wife foot massages if she wants them. It don't bother me like that. What bothered me was I'm sitting there eating my dinner. We were all cutting it up laughing, and Hutch decided to put his nasty ass foot on the screen. That's where this stuff started. It's not that I got a problem with feet. I got a problem with Hutch's feet.
Well,
The shit scared the shit out of me. It genuinely scared the shit out of me.
So if it was in a SHTF and Hutch had all the food, and you had your family there and y'all was starving, would you lick his feet?
What the fuck?
There's your setup.
Look at that dumbfounded look on Backwood's face, dude. Just hurt. How the hell you say that with a straight face? Is that what you were doing at the harvest party?
Well,
to be able to come to his party, you had to lick his feet, huh?
Hey, if you weren't there, you can't know what went on.
I don't think I want to know exactly
what went on outside of that camera.
What happens at Hutch's stays at Hutch's.
Yeah. I just heard the stories of you guys walking home bull-legged. I mean, I don't know what that's about, but
I didn't walk home.
I know
I
you
got
jumped in
hard.
your Barbie car and left. I got it.
Damn right. We gotta. Hey. Just saying.
That's fucked up, G2.
Nailed, hit that one out of the park with that.
Yeah, I would be starving. I'd be one hungry son of a bitch. Hutch wouldn't be having no feet, is how that would go.
You're such a liar. Hutch could hold them toes up like grapes and shit. And you'd be like a baby bird.
You kind of infatuated, dude. You kind of infatuated with Hutch's feet now. See.
Well, hell, I had to look at them all weekend. Shit.
I bet you did. I bet you still tasting them. Like, come on, man. Let me have a drink, man. Can I come to your party, man? I'll do anything you say, man.
Yeah, that's the first rule of Hutch Club. What happens at Hutch's stays at Hutch's.
Ghost is thankful for that too. Like, don't even tell no stories from there, man. We don't want to know.
The only thing y'all got to see what was on the camera.
Yeah.
And y'all got to hear Doc Mack take a belly flop.
While you guys laughed. See, you guys were laughing while he was on his way to fall. That is not a mag I would want to be with.
We went and took care of him. You seen he was just fine the next day.
But while you were laughing, watching him fall, not running over and grabbing him, making sure he doesn't go into the booby trap.
But see, that's the mental aspect of prepping. Yeah. You know, we got to toughen our mag members up, man.
Plus, Hutch had him sign a release before he set foot on the property.
I can say I wasn't laughing. I wasn't even there when it happened, so I don't know.
I was canning and watching at the same time and heard him fall.
Yeah, Hutch comes, you know, because it's like way back off on like this road goes this way and that road over here and back over this way. And so Hutch come out, you know, and we followed him back to his house. Well, he stopped at the entrance of his driveway. And I was like, and I'm looking around like, you know, what's the deal, you know? And he gets off his motorcycle and he walks back there with a sheet of paper and he makes us all sign a release form. Before we pull in his driveway, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a good weekend here.
That's because I mean, I got to give him credit on this one. He was smart enough to set up a whole bunch of booby traps all around the yard. And then he got you guys shit-faced on moonshine while he sat there and smoked his weed and laughed his ass off.
You know, I did tell Hutch, I said, I think I'm going to run up and, like, jab, old Mojo in the ribs real hard and then take off running. And I said, I guarantee you I could run under that clothesline and he'll run right into it. I guarantee it. And Hutch was like, I bet he would, you know, and we was scheming on it for a minute. But then I got to drinking a little bit and I thought, man, what if I miss and hit the clothesline?
I got to be honest, man. If I was sitting around a fire with Mojo, the way he was dressed with 10,000 different animals in his coat and that big ass hat, I would have had my strap close to me. Like, dude, this motherfucker's going to skin me when I go to sleep. Man, fuck this. I ain't sleeping. Yeah, you were kind of worried, huh?
I've been playing some poker trying to win that coat. That thing looked warm.
Yeah, that was actually a really nice coat he had. And later on, Hutch and I was sparking up the fire, you know, moving logs around and shit, and all these sparks went up and they all came down right on top of that coat. He was like,
that would have been awesome. That would have been awesome. That's what happens when you use 70 gallons of gas to start a fire. Bunch of fucking preppers you are.
Hey, man, it rained for like 3 days before we got there.
At the end of the video, I did wonder if this was like a rehearsal for the Darwin Awards.
At least we know where to get the gas if the shit hits the fan, man. It's over at Hutch's house. He needs it to start fires.
No, we used it all.
I don't know, Ghost. My jiggler is tame compared to Hutch right now.
Oh, man. I'll tell you honestly, now all bullshit aside, now I will tell you, Hutch and his wife are freaking awesome people, man. That was one of the, I mean, it was just a great time over there, man. It was just comfortable, and it was seriously, man. They are great people, man. Really good people. And that's straight up.
Yeah, you can tell nobody believed that shit.
I don't care if nobody believes it or not.
Everybody in the chat's going, wait a minute, I've heard Hutch talk to people. That can't be.
Oh, well, I mean, abuse, you know, being abused is part of the fun, man.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What?
Don't let out all your secrets, man. Remember, what you did there stays there. That's already talking about the blow-up dolls that you just beat the shit out of after the cameras were off.
Take it easy there, Uncle Touchy.
He said his dogs was acting pretty funny after you boys left.
All I know is whenever Mojo Man come out of the van, one of the dogs came out. I don't know. I think it was just to keep him warm, though.
Well, but boys and girls, it's 2.5 hours. I think I'm going to go ahead and shut this thing down and get some dinner in my belly. I'm getting a little bit hungry.
Heck yeah.
Maybe there's somebody else going live. We can laugh at their shit. So we're at the 2.5 hour mark, and I'm going to go get something to eat. I want to thank everybody on the panel, Backwoods, Susanna, Ghetto, Northern Girl Hobbies. Hey, everybody in the chat, remember, subscribe to Northern Girl. Watch her playlist. She's got a playlist set up there. It's called, I think it's a binge watching playlist. Watch the playlist. You know, help the girl out. Let's get her some watch hours. Get her where she needs to be. This is just ridiculous. She ain't there already. I'm gonna have to write a letter to somebody. But thank you to everybody in the chat for hanging out. Some really awesome questions. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you to the members. I appreciate all your topics. And tomorrow we're gonna do it on stress. That'll be a fun topic. So that's what it's gonna be about tomorrow. So everybody in the chat, y'all have a good one. Let's go hang out in somebody else's. Let's go tear up somebody else's channel.
Hutch said he's going live.
Hutch is going live. Everybody, let's go hang out with Hutch. I'm going to eat first. I'll be over in a little bit. So we'll talk to you later. Y'all have a good night. Bye. Good night.
Prep those respirators.
You're welcome, Northern Girl.
With all those volcanoes going off, prep them respirators.